we go. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is DH Thorne coming at you live with my beautiful assistant, Flesh Priest, and my even more beautiful wife, T. Kamila Thorne. What is going on? My lovelies, my lovely, whatever you are, is my three-eyed devil and my two-eyed wife.
How's the audience
four
tonight?
eyes there.
I got 4 eyes.
Yeah,
I
in
got
fact,
4 eyes,
I
yes.
got the least number of eyes here.
I guess you're like a five-eyed devil.
Technically, you have 5, yeah.
And, you know, making me get to work early. Thank you, Mr. Dan R., with the super chat before we even began.
Dude, what the
Thank
hell?
you very
And it's the
much,
lemon
dude.
guy. Unacceptable! Am I the only one who watched that shit?
You are, actually. I know what you're referring to, but I never watched it.
I used to
Adventure
love that
Time.
show.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite
miss
shows
it.
of all time. Absolutely. Let me mute this thing here because I'm expecting all kinds of shenanigans.
My only exposure to it was being a fresh 21, getting drunk off of cheap vodka and a couple herbal supplements and puking green confetti all over the bathroom. So I don't exactly have, I don't
Green
exactly have the
confetti.
best associations with that show.
Hey, Eric's here. Eric Wedding, we love you, brother. I want to have a talk
What's up,
soon, man.
dude?
Give me a call. We miss you, man. It's been a little while.
Yeah, he
Give me
did
a
hit us
call.
up on Skype with that thing.
Yeah, we finally got this figured out where we might be able to get... I mean, I'm probably limited to just 2 people just because of the way this is set up, but yeah, I mean, we could have guests again. Proof of concept is the Miss Kamila monster. So if you ever want to come back on, or honestly, just a private chat would be awesome, buddy. I miss you. So drive safe. Don't do anything crazier than I would do. And get to your sanctuary, brother, if you know what I'm saying, because all hell is breaking loose in the world. So as the chat fills up, let's greet everybody. Wyatt says that this is something he looks forward to every week. And we appreciate Wyatt too, the annoying youngin that he is. But we appreciate the hell out of him. He's a good kid. And hopefully this isn't the highest highlight of your week, man. We got to get you out more. I mean, girls and things, they exist,
And boys. Yeah,
Look, I can only promote what I've tried, bro.
And so do I.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I fucking look forward to this every week too. Like, this is one of the highlights of my week as well, simply because you guys are some of my best buddies, and I just love spending time with you guys.
Let me signal the twerp in the other room, see if I can get him to cover up my bird, because he's gonna start singing because it's past his
You
bedtime.
better cover up that bird.
Woo! Hold on.
Oh, and another soup chat. Thank you, Jay Sauber.
Jay
Appreciate
Sauber,
you.
brother, what's up?
So I know we can all see the title of what this video is, and I know we're kind of, fitting into these chairs right now, getting started and everything, but because I have a little bit of an inside baseball perspective, is this being prompted by your recent experience, Kamila?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
She was
Okay,
like, I want to do a stream. Put me on, please.
I look forward to talking about that then.
All right, I'm gonna have to. Everybody, mute your shit for a second. I'm gonna mute everybody for 1 second. Hold on. I gotta yell. I gotta bellow. All right, there we go. Don't worry, nobody heard it. I muted everything.
You didn't mute yourself.
Yes, I did.
No,
I
you
muted
did.
everything.
Oh, okay. Maybe stream didn't hear, but we certainly did.
Oh, okay. Well, if everybody heard it, then everybody heard it.
If you guys couldn't hear, the funniest fucking thing was he yelled for somebody else to, like, hey, could you make sure the bird shuts up? I don't think they were even necessary. The bird was just like, oh, I better be quiet.
Could you shut the light too? Oh, try it again. I gotta be more specific. I can do the light from here. I forgot we've got these electronic lights now. I don't need to yell at people anymore. All right, hold on.
Well, all lights are electronic, but these are Wi-Fi lights.
All right. You know what?
You use an app on
Wisey,
your phone, and you can turn them on and off and change colors.
little Wisey Hyman over there.
I'm glad you said it and not me, because I thought for a second he got really into the non-dual. Like, you slipped into a non-dual reality that was before Edison.
True.
Oh, hey, they heard the whole thing.
Did they? Oh, nice. I muted it. Wait.
According to Cameron, I trust the guy.
Yeah. I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Button on this thing only works on that thing. That's because here's the thing. If I mute,
You might like pin top comment that, warning, take your headphones off.
yeah, really.
So many minutes and seconds into this.
Yeah, I don't get it. Because this. What's going on? Let me check one other source here.
It's because that's going through OBS and Skype. I don't know. Actually, you're streaming your videos through Skype, so I don't know.
I'm muting the microphone though. I'm hitting the button on the microphone to mute me. So there should be no way.
And real quick, we got another 2 super chats. First one from Dark Follower says, Azazel has saved me. And how is everybody doing? I myself am doing very excellent and very happy to see you here. And thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. We got another one too.
And also, did not leave any comment, but from JMC with another super chat. And we appreciate you too, dude.
Thank you, Jay. I really do appreciate you. We do appreciate the super chats. Super chats are, yes, a nice way to support the channel, but we also ask that if you want to, the reason for that is so your questions go to the front of the line. So if you've got a question and especially if we're deep in a conversation, you're much more likely to get our attention. So there's a couple of ways. If you have a question you want to ask while we're talking, we do like to take your questions as a really a focal point of our conversations, because it really gets me off into some ranty tangents. Give us, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can at Yepson, and Yepson is a blue wrench. Just at him. That's actually Flesh Priest, the guy in blue on the screen right there. You can also put your question in all caps. That is, probably the second best way to do it. And it also implies, I'm much more likely to see it myself because I'm sitting really far from the screen. Or you can super chat it. And super chat, of course, goes to the very front of the line if you want us to read your comment and answer it if it's a question. So, and if you do want to support our channel besides super chats, click the link that's pinned at the top of the chat right now. It's also in the description of this video if you're watching it the next day. And click that link, and in there's a bunch of ways you can support us. Right now, probably the coolest thing you can do if you really want to show that you support us, get into the first link on that Linktree link, because what you'll find is it's through MailChimp. It's basically you can sign up for weekly. It's been weekly so far, notifications when I upload. The reason I did that is because Facebook and all these other things that I've been using are just becoming more and more censorious and shitty, and people that I care about are getting kicked off for no reason, and people are telling me they don't know when I'm putting out videos lately because YouTube's not telling them. The algorithm works the way the algorithm works. If you don't watch and interact with my content, YouTube will ignore me and won't send my stuff to your face. So if you go to that first link and put in your email address, the only thing it's going to get used for is for these purposes. So I'm not going to be sending you off to get like free mattress offers and crap. It's so that you will get notifications, which so far have been weekly. And once a month, we're actually doing a content email. It's like an e-zine. So far it's been really good. We've only had, myself and one other contributor, but we got other people lined up every month. If you're interested in even being a contributor, you can do that. And instructions are included in, I believe, the introduction email. But if you want to be a contributor, you can email me. The email link is also in there. You can email me with your idea. And so long as it's about 500 to 1,000 words at most, that will be fine. I'll include it as an article in that monthly, email newsletter. So if you're interested in that stuff, please go to that link, sign up, and everything else will be given to you on a silver platter. It's actually got a little bit of a tiny discount coupon for my Teespring as well, if you see any designs you like. If you like the cool tapestries that I have going on, you can check them out there. All right, enough with this song and dance, salesman
Actually, no,
bullshit.
you know what? Fuck it. Since we're plugging anyways, I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. You can do that, but also even better than Super Chats is go and pick up some merch from Amazon or from Etsy, mindtheshadows.com. I'm just going to fucking knife like I don't give a shit, like I live in a country that has better health insurance than it actually does. And
chicken.
Camilla sent this to me. I have no fucking idea what it is, so I said I would open it on camera. But
since you're gonna do that, let me zoom you in a little bit. Let me make you bigger. I'm gonna hide Camilla.
Let me try to actually open it on camera instead of right next to my crotch.
I mean, I'm gonna arrange it always.
Maybe that will get more super chats or something.
Yeah, maybe. Get that crotch shot in there. Everyone says I'm almost as skinny as you now, which is I call complete bullshit. But
oh shit. Wait, this is an actual eye.
Yeah, it is.
And it probably looks black in that light. I bet you if you get a black light going, it'll look like something better.
Yeah, hold on. Let me what's the good color for this?
You need a black light. Something like a black light.
Okay, yeah. I don't have anything like that. I just got LEDs.
You should be able to see it. I can sort of see it. That's what you call that? The Eye of Darkness or something, honey?
That I actually called the sleeping eye.
Oh, dude, that's fucking sick.
Yeah, because until you put it in the right light,
it's very dark until you put it in the black light.
Yeah.
It's meant to be used for the third eye meditation.
I was gonna say I already got these. Okay, so now that one has a little brother then.
Basically.
I fucking love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's why I was doing the quiz to find out what color you liked.
I responded with, I know exactly what you're doing, but I am going to pretend like I can't, like I don't know you as well as I do. Yeah. Oh my God. I've gushed about the eyes enough, and just like Wyatt was not expecting a compliment right there, like unexpected compliments. I can't believe you fucking make those by hand. That's like all of it looks good, but specifically the eye. I was fucking in disbelief the first time you told me that. I'm gonna put this right.
And the truth is, I mean, I've been trying to figure out a way to get them out as a product of their own. And I just, how to just, I don't want to sell just the eye by itself. It's got to be more than that, like an art piece.
Oh. I just noticed you left me a note too. I'm going to read that later off camera.
Should he read it on camera? I forget what's in it. Is it got pictures of our boobs in there or something?
I don't know. Does it?
I'm not going to fucking cry on camera, okay? Come on.
Oh, you won't cry.
We got a show to do.
You won't cry. I'm not too sappy like that.
Not too sappy like that. She's
sappy.
Completely sappy like that. Are you kidding me? She's like...
Not in what I write, though. In what I read. I'm sappy in what I read.
True.
Anybody
you're liable to start crying for
nothing.
nothing.
I'll stand in the middle of the store and cry reading a frickin' birthday card.
That's true. Show them your Mothy collection while... Get one of the big ones. This is the stuff that makes us all cry. Look at that ass. You see that? That was pretty hot. Those are our favorite stuffed animals in the freaking world, are these little squishable things.
This is the Rosie Maple Moth. Her name
We're
is
evil,
Sherman.
but we like cute stuff.
What?
We're evil, but we like cute stuff.
We love cute stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Kidding me? I mean...
So, tonight we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, look at
it.
Baphomet there, yeah. So, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, and I did see some questions floating through that. Actually, one of them kind of appeals to me a little bit, but because I've been writing about it a lot lately, but I want to focus primarily on the main subject at hand. So, Miss Kamila, if you want to begin with your story time, if you want to. If not, I will just rant and rave like I always do. I'm gonna get worked up and just like let it rip soon. So
yeah,
you might as well get you guys out while we can, because at some point I'm just not gonna shut up. So
I got quite a bit to say on this subject too. Anyway, so I could try to hold you back a little bit.
All right, cool. By the way, how do you guys like bluish green tonight? Should I fuck with the colors?
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, go back the other way. It was very Lovecraftian green.
Well, I'm gonna cycle through a few.
The problem with LEDs is on camera they come out. Some of them come out the same.
That's true. See, that's like a nice lime green, but you can't see that.
So, I know you guys went to see a show recently, which is how this recent thing came about.
Yeah, we did.
Lucky
well,
bastards.
I'm gonna preface that. Okay. I do have a tendency to have premonition sort of visions. You know of the one time I'm talking about with the coat and the escalator. I've told you about that. Where we were going into Michael's and a little voice popped in there saying, watch your coat on the escalator sort of shit, you know? And, you know, you kind of brush it off and nothing happened on the way in, but on the way out, on the way down the escalator, my coat did get stuck halfway down.
Well, that's every child's nightmare.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It's like, you know, as a tall person, as someone who's 6 foot tall, it's very hard to find a coat that's like past your knees. This one actually goes down to my heels. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, it's hard to find that, fucking jeans that fit properly, a shirt that fits both your shoulders and your torso. It's a
nightmare.
Y'all be jealous of tall people, but try living in our bodies with our back problems.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta kind of like hunker down under the shower.
I guess I'm 6'1's tall-ish. Like that's just, I think for a guy that's like normal tall, like you're 6'3 or something, right? Fleshy, I forget, 6'2.
No, you and me are the same.
We are the same. Okay.
I'm 6'2 on a good day, but after a day of working, I'm 6'1.
True.
6'1 is like you're tall, but you're like average tall. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, like when I go to stuff, like people mostly look up at me, but there's still people that I gotta look up to, which is kind of funny. I'm kind of glad of being around. I mean, sometimes I wish I was taller. I think I was meant to be. Like every male in my family, with the exception of one uncle, has at least 1 to 2 inches on me. My grandfather was like 6'3". One of my uncles was like 6'4". If I was 6'3 or 6'4", I'd already be like the ideal weight already. Like I'd be perfect already. But yeah,
I felt very short meeting your family, and that's rare.
Yeah. I'm like the littlest giant in my family. Like everyone else is bigger than me. Not fat or bigger, just big people. Like we're not small. We're very big German people. Speaking of which, I just got my ancestry results back. I didn't want to do it, but
I saw that. It says you're 110% pasty with a 10% margin of error.
Yeah, it basically says your race is mayonnaise. That's pretty much what it said on it. Well, I mean, I do have some Greek in there, like 1%. Like that's just that one little fleck of like, you know. Well, no, that's not true. I've got Southern Italian too, which we already knew we got Italian in there. But
you know, one thing I do have to say, it's not the percentage that you are; it's the percentage chance that you are from there.
No, because I know that all of those are ones that I have direct ancestry from. So it's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both, but what they say is they don't really have a definitive way to prove you are from there.
Oh, that's true. No, that's true.
Your ancestry like that, it doesn't happen.
No, because you have to combine that with an actual lookup of, names and all that shit. It doesn't just go, yeah. But that's where they usually find those genes, is in those areas. So, that's what it means. And it's funny because one of them it says
Ash
French.
Says you're Greek yogurt.
I'm Greek yogurt. One of them says I'm part French, which is true, but the French that I am is Alsace-Lorraine, which is not strictly French. Like a lot of people from that region, especially when my family migrated to America from there, would have considered themselves mostly German who spoke French. So it's pretty funny. I'm actually closer to 40 or 50% German than I am anything else, which is pretty. So definitely I'm a mayonnaise American is what I'm absolutely a mayonnaise tribe. Woo! So continue, Miss Kamila, unless I missed the ending of that.
We fucking tangented on fucking bloodlines and the
I
problems
swear
with
we
being
will
tall.
talk about magic soon. I really expected when I put my DNA thing in there that like the Illuminati people were going to come and be like, we were missing you. Where did you go?
Hey, it's still early. They still probably
That's
might.
true.
You never know.
That's true.
So last Friday I was out in the shop. This is getting to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Last Friday I was out in the shop, and it was around 3 o'clock, and I have a package that needs to go out, which was your package. And
Woo.
I'm like, oh, you know, I could do it tomorrow morning. They're open till 1 on Saturdays. I could do it tomorrow morning. I'm covered in sawdust and paint and all sorts of shit from out there. No, get it done today. That little voice in there says, go get it done. All right, fine. Drag myself into the shower, hop in there real quick, get dressed, grab the package and my keys, and I head out to the car. Hit the unlock button, and hear the car unlock. All right, well, you know, whatever. It's an old car. Sometimes you don't quite hear it unlock. Go to get in, start the car, and nothing. Not even a click. Fuck. Battery's dead again. Go into the trunk, and I grab the tack life, and as I'm popping the hood of the car, the frickin' battery's fully corroded. Like, everywhere. Shit. We need that car tomorrow for the concert. How else are we gonna get to the train station? Da 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 da. You know, the gamut.
Right. That was the day we both like had fucking car problems too.
Yes.
So
It
just
the
like-
problems were
My
rampant
mom,
that
too.
day.
My mom too. She actually had to replace her battery on the same day we did.
Same day.
Yeah, that was funny too because it's like, guys, I'm gonna be late for game night. I have car problems. Hey, we were about to call about the same thing, so it's Kosh.
Speaking of which, I'm looking forward to playing more of that freaking Alien game. I've been playing. It's a good grindy game when I'm really just need something to veg for like a half hour or an hour just to like run a mission and pick up a few. Like I haven't been doing the newer missions. I haven't been getting ahead of us.
We're gonna kill those synths tomorrow.
We're gonna fucking do it. I'm fucking sick of them fuckers because like, yeah, I'm sick of them. I'm done. We're done. All right, I'm good. I got it out of my system.
So yeah, so the fucking car problems after your premonition about
Just
sending a
go
package out.
Just go and fucking do it. So it's like, all right, well, you know what? Okay, it's at this point it's 4 o'clock. I call my son. He's at work with the truck. And I say to him, I'm like, you know, I need you to come home and pick me up and take me to the auto place down the street, you know, to get a new battery. So he does. Bring it home. Now it's about 5:30. We throw the thing in. Too late to go to the post office, obviously. And it starts and it's fine, right? So later on, it's like, all right, maybe we should get tickets online for the train because it's a hell of a lot cheaper to buy them online than at the terminals at the station. All right, so we get 4 round-trip tickets. And as the night goes on, I'm getting this feeling deep down in my gut. Something's not right. There's a pressure building, and it feels fucky. Something is wrong. And one of the last times I felt like this was when his mom got into a really bad accident. And it's the kind where if you focus on it, you actually feel like you're going to cry. It's an overwhelming presence that something is wrong. So we play our games because it's Friday night.
Yeah.
Close it down for the night. I get in bed and I'm laying in bed. I fall asleep and then I wake up and it's like all that's on my mind is something's wrong about this train trip. Something is wrong, and I'm having visions of us getting mugged. The train station we have to go to is not a good one, and we would have to transfer at another not good one, if you know what I mean. So I'm getting these visions, okay? And it's not just me and my husband, it's my son and his girlfriend, and she's a young girl, you know, she's 18, gonna be 18.
Yeah, which I know you guys were telling me, like, if it was just the two of you, like, okay, fucking whatever, we can handle ourselves. But that being in the equation is like, no, we got to think about their safety.
And so I finally fall back asleep. Finally get back to sleep, and it's like, I really need to go to sleep because of the concert. It's going to be a long fucking day if I don't go to sleep.
Would have been about 13 hours between, because we'd have to take a train out at 3 or 4 p.m.,
fucking New
hustle
York,
around
dude.
the city, find dinner, watch the show, and then get back to Penn Station in time to catch a train, which we'd probably miss because
we
of the
would
way
have missed
everything
the
works.
train home.
And we would have had to wait till
We'd
about
have
3
to
for the
wait
next
another
train.
hour, like 2 hours to take one home.
So by the time we would have
So
actually
it'd been
got
like
home,
2
would
in
have
the
been about
morning.
6 in the morning.
We would have been, yeah, because then it's a 2-hour trip home. So anyway,
Because there's so many
I
delays going
finally
on.
get to sleep. I wake up in the morning and I'm brewing my coffee, and it just doesn't feel right still. It's still there. That pressure is still there, eating me up. Something's not right. So when DH gets up, I talk with him. I'm like, we really. What do you think about driving in? There's 24.
I thought I said it first.
You said it the day before.
I did. Okay.
You said it the day before, and it's like resonating in my head at this point. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We need to drive in. Something's gonna happen. So we find a parking garage just around the corner from Irving Plaza. Worked out perfect. Reserved a spot there. And as soon as we did that feeling was gone. Weight off my chest. I could breathe. Just, And so the day goes on. Normal. Everything's great. And we're in the car to go to the concert. Around 4 o'clock we leave. And as we're on the northern state heading into the city, on those caution signs right above where it says, like, if there's delays on, exit whatever through whatever, LIRR closed, Hicksville to Jamaica, divert to South Shore. So that would have tacked on at least another 2 hours to the train trip. In and out.
Which, like, by then, too, you would have to, like, just hope to grab a fucking bite at the 7-Eleven or something as you fucking scream into the concert.
Yeah. It would have been even tighter. So pretty amazing.
Like, my view on how premonitions work, it's not exactly like magic. It's not like a vending machine. It might not happen exactly as you see it. Like, okay, there might not have been a mugging, but something didn't feel right, and it scared us enough into doing what we should have done in the first place.
Yeah, and it's interesting because one of the things I point to with premonitions is that it's that saying of trust your gut and whatnot, of we're so distracted by our senses and also the social constructs of, interacting with people and whatnot, that certain things that our training through growing up in life, our nurture, may tell us, oh, this means that thing or this means something else, can all dilute the more basic senses of telling us something is very wrong. Maybe this person isn't who they say they are, other things like that. But in this example, it's nothing to do with that, I would even say, because you had no reason whatsoever to know that something like that would happen. It's just, I've got a really fucking bad feeling about doing this. And if you had followed through with that, then you would have had, who knows, it might not have been what you were fearing it would be, but it most certainly would have put a damper on your night.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it's like we are taught to, how do I put this? Because sometimes there's no better way to say it. We are taught, especially in the West, that the analytical brain is the superior side of our brain. Because honestly, some people are ruled by their emotions. Your emotions tend to come from the subconscious. So we tend to discount our feelings, and we're taught to discount our feelings because, quite frankly, your feelings are often wrong. But you can train yourself, I suppose. Some people are more gifted at this than others. Like, nobody is the same, right? But intuition is an absolutely fundamental skill that people must develop, in my opinion, to properly do anything magical. That doesn't mean you can't do magic without a really good sense of intuition, but intuition is one of the focal point abilities that you really need to work on. And insight, intuition, everything related to that needs to be learned. And the only way to really do that, of course, is to practice things that give you intuitive insight. practicing with tarot cards, practicing with pendulums, practicing with scrying and gazing. All of these things are absolutely imperative. But the biggest risk that I found is that some people will trust those things actually too much. Like that you can actually go too far and trust those intuitions to the point where you make yourself sick in another way. So it's a very complicated thing. We have to be very careful when we're doing this and thinking about it, to do it in such a way that we don't allow ourselves to be moved too much by emotional things like that, right? So we've got to, you've got to trust but verify, to borrow, a famous politician's saying. But it's absolutely necessary. You can't, this is how you end up with very superstitious people when they only listen to their gut. You've got to temper both, both the one and the other with both. And we did so. Both of us listened to our guts enough to say, you know what, here's my version of it. My version of it was just this. I don't think people realized, how long a trip this was going to be. We'd be leaving at 3 p.m. and probably wouldn't be getting home until 6 a.m. for a 2 or 3 hour concert. And I'm like, that is unacceptable. Like, I'm going to be exhausted for nothing. Like, it's not worth sitting in a car even that long. Like, we're going to be walking the whole time.
Think of it as too, the trains used to run more through the night.
That too. No, they don't. Not on Saturdays. That's actually a normal schedule for Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of a weeknight.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a weeknight then.
Yeah. So the big thing was that shifting of the not accent, whatever it was that shut them down for the night. That's the big thing.
I also love that you two have a relationship where somebody can say, like, I've got a bad feeling about this, just in my gut, like, we shouldn't do that. And rather than just like, oh, well, here's why that's silly and everything. Of like, analytically, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there needs to be a little bit of temperament, obviously, and I'm not saying that, but it's nice to be in one of those relationships and not, your gut is invalid.
I mean, we do sometimes. It will be like, I think you're just going nuts, because the very next day, we had another, was it? No, not the next day. 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago?
2 days.
2 days ago. We had a little bit of a scare. My mom is very old, and even though she and I have had an up and down kind of relationship, I still care about her. And she disappeared for a little while, and she's elderly and she can't breathe very well. So I was like, oh, what the hell? I haven't heard from her for a little while. And last I heard from her, she was acting extra ill. And we did have a fight, but I was a little bit rude to her because, it just wasn't time. It just wasn't time to talk to me. We'll put it that way. And so she disappeared, and I was at first fine with it. I'm thinking, yeah, she's probably busy, but she never ignores her phone for more than just like 20 minutes or something. She doesn't
go anywhere without it.
Right. She's very fearful of a lot of things. So she's never without her phone for long. So she was not answering her phone, and I started to freak out, and I actually grabbed my pendulum and I did a reading with the pendulum. The pendulum said she was fine, that there was going to be nothing wrong. So that's my subconscious telling me that. My subconscious is saying it's fine, don't worry about it. But my analytical side was starting to bug the fuck out, because that's where anxiety really comes from. Fear comes from the subconscious. Anxiety comes from the analytical side. So my analytical side was overriding me, going, no, you don't understand. This is bad. This is bad.
To preface this also, she is relatively housebound.
Yep, little bit. Yeah, she can't really travel too well, among other things. So it's, it's not an unreasonable assumption to think something could be, like, she would be home. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So after much deliberation and about an hour or so of calling around, nobody knew anything. So we made the decision to call the police, actually. And at that point, you already said too, I thought maybe you were just doing a wishful thinking thing, because that's a danger of being someone with a good sense of premonition. Sometimes you will assert your wishful thinking in place of your true intuition, and people do this all the time. So I was worried about that, but you were saying, no, I think she's fine. She's going to be fine. She's sitting outside. Everything's fine. She's not. And I wanted to listen to you, but because it was my mom, and because I had just had a fight with her, and because of other reasons, I was not a fight, but like a soft fight, if you will. I was thinking the worst. And so we called the police, to do a wellness check. And the great irony was, you know, we left the house. We flew out. Like, we were halfway to her house. The cops were showing up, and they found her. And she was perfectly fine. She just had her phone turned off for whatever reason. She wasn't listening to it.
The one time she leaves the house without it.
The one time, yeah. And now normally, you can ask anybody, normally I do not, like, I'm not, I don't know. I guess I do get anxiety. That's clear. I do get, you know, diagnosable anxiety. That's not a problem. You know, that's not a denial on my part. But I don't get the same kind of anxiety most people get that often, right? So I gave into the anxiety, and I should have listened to the pendulum. If I'd listened to the pendulum, I probably would have been happier for it. But here's the irony, is that this made her so happy to know that we were that concerned, that it actually worked out for the best no matter what. And I think Timothy's saying it's always smart to listen to those leads. So what he's hopefully saying here is that, you know, always err on the side of caution, I guess, is not an unfounded wisdom. Not fear, but caution. Make sure you temper it so it's never fearful avoidance, but cautious, you know, cautious choices. You kind of can't go wrong, especially with the way things are happening in the world right now. You kind of have to, you got to temper things a little bit, but you got to definitely just be a little bit. Listen, I don't like the idea of people being really security conscious. I can't stand that. You know, I can't stand when people are like, oh, having risk avoidance, right? When people are really like risk averse, I hate that.
Says the man with all the weapons.
That's not because I'm risk averse. That is fuck you. Give it your best shot, motherfucker. Totally different philosophy.
But you started with security, and I would argue that is very secure, securely minded.
Others would argue it's not, because other people would say that those guns in the house raise my chance of getting shot more than if I didn't have them. So they'd be wrong, but that would be what they would argue. No, my hobby with the guns is all because guns and knives is just because that's my love. I have a passion for weapons and things like that. That is not a secret at all.
No, not at all. I can't think of any stream we've ever done where it turned into just a show and tell.
No, that's never happened. It's called JS. See. Don't make me do it right now. I can do it right now. What do you want me to grab? You want me to grab my...
grab whatever's closest to you.
A new Gladius that I got, just for the fuck of it? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's not really that good, but I like it.
Right next to the wardrobe, okay?
Yeah, go show him, honey. Go show him.
I got the wardrobe right here.
Yeah, go show him. You got the boom drobe. That's what we call that, the boom drobe. The boom drobe.
The armor.
All I need is my pocket knife and some naked fucking spider monkey energy to take down whoever's attacking me.
Some sweaty naked. Yeah, that's a knife. That's a modded one. I custom that myself. Ooh, I love this.
Hold on, say it again. Piss off all the Aussies that are watching right now.
No. The Aussies are pissed off enough right now.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing I could do right now that would piss them off more than their own government right now. Period. So, at least the smart ones anyway.
We have a super chat from one CM Helnikainen. Says, sits down at Crowder table. Thanos didn't go far enough. Change my mind. Rock
I'm
on,
not
my
gonna
guys.
change your mind. I'm on your side, bro. And I'm on, like, try 25% left, like 75% snap. Let's go. Here's what I was doodling the whole time.
Oh, bitchin'.
Nice.
Yeah. A little bit of chaos with a little bit of yin yang in there, huh? What do you think?
Were you intentionally putting an Ouroboros in there, or am I just seeing what I want to see?
Yeah, that is actually my new symbol for ultimate chaos, for primordial chaos itself.
You know,
you've got the yin yang feature.
Dishonored.
You can probably put it this way too if you want. This way.
Which
way looks better?
That symbol from Dishonored.
Which way do you like it better?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Dishonored.
I actually like that the most. How it is right there.
The horizontal way. I'll fuck with it when I. It's gonna be one of the major symbols for my next book. So.
So, in your professional opinion, what can people do to strengthen that gut sense, to be more aware of their own premonitions and apply this to things.
Yeah, practice, man. Get your ass into divinatory skills. I recommend you begin with a lot of, honestly, there's no limit to what you should try. But personally, if you doubt your own intuition, start with tarot. Tarot helps because it gives you something solid that's hard to argue with. When you draw a card and it comes out, you need to read into the card. In other words, you've got to scry the card. You can't just take it at face value. You've got to also think it through, because sometimes a card will pop up for reasons that aren't what it says in the booklet. Mm-hmm. In fact, my opinion is, if you get a tarot deck, for the most part, number one, the symbolism on the card has to be solid. By solid, I mean it's got to be readable for you. What I mean by readable is it can't just be a pretty fucking picture. That's cool, but if it doesn't have a lot of symbolic meaning in it, like that's one reason why the Thoth deck by Crowley is so popular with some people, is because that thing's like 15 layers deep on symbolism. Like, it's really symbolic. The regular Rider-Waite's are also perfect, but I don't like the way they look, so I look for adaptations, like when people adapt them with cooler looking imagery, because I just don't like the artwork. So if you put the same exact symbols in them, but you make it prettier looking, I like that. So my favorite one is the Anna K Tarot right now. That's my current favorite. But I like how you've got to have a lot of symbolism built into the card so that your intuitive side can read it. So it's not just, otherwise, why don't you just get a whole bunch of like index cards and just write the names on them and draw them that way? That's, if you're going by what the book says, you're not, in my opinion, doing it right. I don't think that that's really the true, I mean, you do it however you want, but that's not, to me, that won't work for me.
I think, going by what the book says and everything can open you up to, oh, I didn't look at it from that angle, or I wasn't thinking about the symbolism of that. But I think definitely whatever speaks to you innately trumps all other things.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying don't study the book. I'm saying don't learn with the book, right? Like, don't go by the book. Yes. or go by the book, but quickly learn to develop your own way of seeing the card, because that's a way better way to do it. Yes, there's a right reading for every card that's according to tradition, and but I hate that. With a little bit of an exception though. The major arcana are specific about what they're supposed to mean, because they actually influence or set up the meaning of the minor cards. So if your major arcana is skewed too much, then the minor won't make as much sense, if that makes sense. So you have to recognize that the first 10 of the majors in particular completely influence the numbered cards of the minor. And it's also, the major arcana is sort of a blueprint for ascension through, initiatory steps to become a living god, if you will, to borrow the Bald statement. It is meant to be the path of ascension through any system. You begin as a fool and you get inspiration, and you work through all the cards until eventually you get to the end, which is the world. You return to the world, you become the world, the cycle completes, and a lot of people would say it starts over as the fool again. You enter a state of learning again. So it is very important to know the textbook meanings, but you really should be able to read the symbolism on the card, because sometimes you draw a card and you're like, why did I get that? And then you notice like one of the people in the background of the card represents something that means something to you. You're like, no, whenever I see someone with a blue shirt, this means something to me. So you develop your own prescient intuition that way. The reason I like tarot though is because it's something solid that once you draw it, you can't take it back and just be like, oh, well, maybe that's just my wishful thinking talking. You've got a solid card there that tells you something. Now, number two, do not treat any of these divinatory processes like they're a fortune-telling device, right? You're never going to get like well, I shouldn't say never. Never say never, right? You're almost never, probably never, should never count on getting a reading like you're going to win the lotto next week or something stupid like that. It's always going to be a reflection of your deep subconscious intuition. It's not going to be some kind of a primordial God telling you that this is how things are going to be. I'm not saying never, but I'm saying it. Don't count on that. Don't go into divination thinking that you're going to be like Moses having visions of God and shit. That's not what it means. You're getting your conscious mind out of the way of your subconscious intuition to speak for you. Because one of the biggest problems is we don't listen to our subconscious very well. Well, you can learn to, and that's the part of the point of your divinatory practice, is learning to listen to your subconscious. But your subconscious is always talking to you, and our analytical side is like, shut up, motherfucker, shut up. You talk too much. You know, it's like a complete asshole to your subconscious. And it takes over and completely denies the truth. So you've got to, the reason why we use divinatory practices like these is because they give the conscious mind something like a bunch of shiny things jangling in front of them to distract them. So
it satisfies crow brain.
Right, exactly. Baby brain, crow brain, monkey brain, exactly. So yeah, then probably, you know, then at that point all the other ones are on the table. Once you get okay, like somewhat level of comfortable with tarot, then I would go with the more free-form kinds. My current favorite is pendulums. Now, pendulums are really hard to get good at because it's really easy to fake it. It's really easy to trick yourself into literally manipulating the reading because of wishful thinking. Because all you got to do is wiggle your fingers a little bit and it'll come out different. So
should I have 2 bowls of ice cream tonight? Jiggle slightly to the right if so.
Exactly. So you've got to be really conscious of your intentions when you're using a pendulum and be able to enter a complete state of mindfulness where you're not thinking about the answer, you're just letting it come. You know, you've got to gaze through it. In fact, I just did a class on this on Monday, and it was one of my favorite classes. I think it went really well because I even showed on camera, like I had it, you know, my hand's not moving and the thing's wiggling. That doesn't mean that the spirits are grabbing it, wiggling it. It's little imperceptible movements in my hand, right? It's like dowsing that's causing it to wiggle a certain way. And I am doing my best to completely ignore my hand. So I actually hold it, like if I do it my way, this is not how everybody does it. But the way I do it is I will hold it on a rather long chain. That's kind of unusual. But I will hold it at eye level and put my hand completely out of my view. And I'll tune out all the sensations in my hand. I'll bring it to a stationary spot. And I will start testing it. The first thing I do is I'll ask it for its symbol of yes, then its symbol of no, then its symbol of undetermined. And I will, every time I use it, it's part of the ritual. Because I'm basically programming it every time. And when I do that, I'm also, at that time, I'm not asking my serious question. So I'm tuning out my hand and I'm just focusing on the swinging of the pendulum. So that really the pendulum becomes whatever it is. In other words, my hand isn't, I'm not thinking about my hand, I'm not thinking about the answer. I'm watching the pendulum like the pendulum's a separate entity from me and I'm waiting for its movement and I want to be surprised by its movement. So you got to practice with that. It's not something you can do the first try. It's going to take you a little while, and you really should already have a little bit of in-depth understanding of your intuition. At some point, you can trust the pendulum, so long as it's not about something that's too near and dear to you, I found. If it's something that's really, except for this last example that I gave with my mom being ill, like that one was perfect. It was literally right. Like everything it said was right.
That's a pretty universal too, that too much attachment is just going to throw things off.
Yes, quite right.
And I'm not trying to cut this short. I just want to point out so I don't forget, we have a super chat with a question as soon as we're wrapped up with this.
Let it rip.
Okay. So we have one from Cameron Carlson with that glorious 666. Thank you very much, dude.
Thank you, Cameron.
He asks, any experience on combining 2 spirit sigils? Had an interesting poll to do so a while back and got some pretty interesting results.
I mean, not as such. I have done mass evocations before, you know, where I have called all the kings of the Goetia plus Lucifer at once, using their sigils and using little, you know, invocations I wrote for them and all kinds of stuff. Always a very interesting thing. But usually what happens is I find that they'll all show up, but you'll really only deal with one or two at a time. You know, it's very rare that they're all like blah 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 blah. It's not like a loud crowd, right?
Yeah, but that just doesn't function. It's like being on this show and all of us talking at the same time.
Which
we have you to represent us.
But and you really have to make sure that whatever spirits you're calling, I got to preface this by saying most of the superstitious animosity between spirits is superstition. But if you hold it to be true, you've got to make sure that the spirits vibe with each other well. And that has a lot to do. I mean, even if the superstitious animosity isn't correct, you don't necessarily want a spirit that is one way and then it's complete opposite on the other side. And in a way, well, actually you can, it can balance, but you don't want to do it in a way where you're going to feel combative about it. You know what I'm saying? So, some people would have no problem bringing Stolas and Malphas and Realm and some of the crows and the owls together. The problem is, though, in real life, crows and owls don't get along at all. So I know that, so I feel weird calling them both at once. Is it really a problem? No, it probably wouldn't matter. But to me, it feels weird, so I don't.
As an interesting note to this, forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm sure he'll correct me if so. But I believe what he was telling me was that he combined the sigil of two different spirits to,
Sure.
Try to work with them. And instead of getting the two separate spirits, he got a single spirit that had the energy of both of them, but with something completely new and unique.
I mean, sigils are just symbols. Sigils are themselves not. This is something I get into all the time, and it's one of those one of the ways that I am completely different from many other people doing what I do. I am not the least bit superstitious. I do not believe that drawings on paper by themselves have any power. I don't even think that the lines and shapes have any power. What they are symbolic representations of something that is something else. The problem is everybody listening to me, without exception, and if you're different, you're one of the few, sees reality and thinks it's real. You think that this is real, but it's really a holographic illusion. What you don't realize is that you're seeing the second-hand evidence of reality. You're not actually seeing reality. So when you look at anything, you are seeing secondhand evidence that it's there. You're not seeing the thing itself. I said this on the last stream when I said, when you hear a gunshot, you're not actually witnessing the gunshot. Like, that's not actually the gunshot that you're hearing. You're hearing evidence of the gunshot, but the gunshot itself is an enigmatic, unknowable phenomenon in its true form. You cannot know what a gunshot really is. If you look directly at the gunshot, what you're seeing is the light reflecting from the event to your eyes. You're not seeing the actual event. You're seeing a secondhand reflection, shadow, secondhand reference, an artifact, an echo. You're never seeing true reality, no matter what it is that we're talking about. Clapping your hand, that sound is not the sound of a hand clapping. That is not a clap, okay? That is a secondary effect of what you call a clap. Your hand, what you feel when you rub your hand, that is not what your hand is. That feeling is a secondary echo. It's a reflection of the real thing. And the real thing is always enigmatic, intangible. What's the other word? It's one of my favorite words. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I've written it so many times that I've like...
Inconceivable.
Yeah, no. Good enough, though. It's something that is completely unknowable. You cannot know it with your thoughts, with your experiences, but it is there. And it is intangible, and it is unknowable. It is formless and void, but it is there. So it is something that is completely unknowable, but you know it indirectly. And this is true. You can test this even with a qualified, not just some asshole scientism jackass. Get an actual physicist who knows what they're talking about. They'll agree with what I just said. Nothing that you experience is the genuine article of what it is. All the things that you experience are a secondary effect of whatever the phenomenon actually is. And they don't even know what the actual phenomenon is. That's what makes it so wild, is that even modern science is starting to realize what non-dual and some other mystical traditions have been saying all along about the illusory nature of reality. They're realizing, hey, this isn't real. So I say all this because if you look at what a sigil is just some kind of secondary little illusion. It's just part of the illusory world. It doesn't matter what it's made of, it doesn't matter how you draw it. All that is a representation. It's a model of something that has meaning to you that you're transferring onto paper or onto wood or whatever it is. The sigil itself means absolutely nothing. Nothing. You don't need it at all. It's just useful. It's like training wheels. It's not actually powerful. This is why when people say to me, oh, you used the wrong sigil, you fucked up, that's not the real spirit, I go, fuck you, it doesn't matter. I could put a bunch of upside down 2s, 3s, and 5s in the place, and it could still work if that's what represents the spirit to me. It has nothing to do with the sigil.
It's the carrot on the end of the stick that can help get you moving, but really, if you just put one foot in front of the other, you'll get there without it. Honestly,
you will. And like I saw somebody on one of the Facebook groups was asking, oh, I paid someone to channel a demon sigil for me, but I don't know if it's accurate. Could someone read the sigil for me and tell me if it's correct? And it's like, motherfucker, just fucking stop. I mean this with all niceness. Just stop. Like that's that's way off into superstitious land. And somebody's going to take you up on that offer and charge you $50 to read your sigil and say, sure, it's no, it's not. It's this is actually a pretender spirit that you never go to that person again. Only trust me with your business. It's just, don't be dumb. Please don't be dumb. But if that's how people want to practice, that's how they want to practice. And I'm just going to, politely mock them from a distance because that's I've been doing this since I was 13 years old in one form or another, and I took a long hiatus, yes, but during that time I tested all the spirits. That's why I became a rational skeptic for like 10 years and completely debunked all magic until something weird happened, as I often talk about. And then I got back into it, which some people would say, oh, you're flip-flopping. No, I'm just growing like we all are. We change in our views all the time.
It's a crooked path.
It's a very crooked path. It's absolutely a crooked path. So, I mean, sigils are... they are not like magic words that unlock magical gateways. That all of the little superstitious beliefs that revolve around them are pretty much bullshit. In fact, they're complete bullshit. There are nothing but bullshit. The reason they work, if they work for you at all, because not everybody works well with sigils, by the way, is because whatever is going on in the artwork of the sigil speaks to you in a mysterious kind of way. It represents something to you that makes sense. If you want to have some fun, go through and look at the sigils in the Goetia and really look at them and think about what they look like. And most of them sort of vaguely look like something. They vaguely often look like some of the things that are being described by this by the spirit. If you look at like one of the weird ones, I think is King Baal. It kind of looks like a frog or a fly if you look at it. It looks like either like an insect or a frog, which is pretty interesting because frogs are mentioned as part of the spirit's identity. If you look at King Person, it actually looks a little bit, sure, it looks like a little weaver or whatever, or a lever from Legend of Zelda, but it actually kind of looks like a bear with a guy with like a trident sticking off the side of it, with a serpent wrapped around the tines of it, which is sort of what's mentioned in King Person's sigil. So if you look at these sigils and you really look at them with an abstract art kind of eye, you can see in them little things that resemble the spirit you're talking about. Look at King Paimon's sigil. It looks like like one of those old school Viking boats.
People, I think.
A procession of people, yes, or I like that, or like a boat with like the dudes with the shields and they're like traveling somewhere. There's like, but yes, a procession of people. It looks like a musical instrument too, doesn't it? It's got all of these little things in there. So,
as not an editor's note, but kind of an editor's note, I pulled up. I was gonna bring up some symbols here, and when I typed in King Paimon, the first like 24 results were all anime. Just
Yep. There's actually some anime that's got like all the demons in it. Like if you could look up Dantalion, it looks like some like, you know, some weeb shit. And like, what the fuck is that? I mean, that's fine, because if that's how they come through to people, that's fine. I mean, they don't mind getting these little icons for themselves. They don't mind, so long as they remotely fit what is being represented. It's usually fine. Like people got all mad when Hereditary came out. I'm like, are you kidding me? King Paimon loved that movie. He was so proud of that movie. He's like, yes, say my name, motherfucker. Say my name. Fear me, love me, call me. Yes. You know, it's just like Candyman or something. People see that and they go in I mean, who doesn't go into like the bathroom and start saying it in the mirror just to see if it works? You know, I mean, I did, I guess. You know,
I'm too busy saying my own name in the mirror.
Well, you know, I say my name well, is that mirror on the ceiling when you're, I mean, shut up. But yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. Like people think like all these superstitious stuff. And the fun thing about that is those people, their world's pretty magical, so I gotta say, in some ways I envy them. But the problem is that whenever confronted by facts and reason and logic, they get crushed, and they just end up being embarrassed, like pretty much every time. That doesn't. And the sad thing about that is that it's not that this stuff isn't real. It's just not the superstitious stuff people think it is. People think it's the superstitious stuff, but it's not. It never has been. The superstition is you know, a reduction. It's a pale imitator of the true mystical thing behind it.
I can't help but think just the way that you said that, just superstitious demonolator destroyed by facts and logic. Just your own little version of whatever the fuck that fucknut is. I always forget his name.
Some fucknut. Look, I mean, you know, everyone's being destroyed by facts and logic these days. It's ridiculous. You can't even, like, you know, tell somebody that you like bubblegum and someone go, that's objectively wrong. Objectively, you must be a communist or a capitalist if you like bubblegum. It's like people are just crazy right now. I'm so sick of it. Like we're all trying to walk away from it now. But
hey, I'm on chewing gum squad. Fuck the bubblegum.
Yeah, right. So yeah. So I mean, people, you know, and that's part of the conversation too. Is like, I don't know. I posted something in the politics channel. Tomorrow might be an interesting day. We're gonna find out. I don't know. My pendulum said it would be. So we'll see. We'll see. So
hey, if every day isn't an interesting day, then you might be boring.
Then again, if every day is an interesting day, what counts as interesting for you? Yeah, I mean, it's going to start getting boring, even if it's not. Like let's say, like when I used to live in the heart of the village, like not New York City, like Greenwich Village, but heart of the village around here, a big town. You eventually just got used to the noise and the people and the bullshit, and you're like, oh yeah, I think there's some kind of big party going on. I don't care. You know, like I live right next to a train station, so you're gonna hear it go by any second. I got used to it to the point where I don't even hear it. Like I don't even hear it. Like I unless I'm doing a stream and I realize it's happening, I don't even hear it.
Oh look, what was that about Premonition?
Well, to be fair, the trains have gotten a lot quieter. They're not the huge engines they used to be, and they're not as heavy.
And the planes aren't.
Yeah,
going
I don't
over
see
like
your
they
guys'
used to
camera fucking shake anymore.
It used to. 10 years ago, it was loud.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, sigils are one of my favorite ways to do magic. There's no question about it. I love employing sigils on some level. Sigils look like magical devices. They just do. There's something cool about them. And a lot of people go, what's the right or wrong way to make a sigil? There's not really a right or wrong way, period. You can literally doodle a sigil with no technique at all. Sometimes my favorite sigils are made that way. I just doodle something. And sometimes that's my sigil, and I use that. The one that actually represents me in my magical works, my public sigil, that you guys all see me use in my rituals. It's on the back of my books and stuff. That looks like a 7 almost, with like a question mark or some stuff. That's a doodled sigil. Like that wasn't like, I didn't use the usual technique where you go with a wheel or you write the letters and you do this and do, you know, I didn't do any of that. I literally just blanked out and I just started doodling, and I found a shape that felt right, and I simplified it, and I kept thinking about myself. Who am I? As I'm doing it, and I just, until eventually this symbol came out, and that's the one I stuck with, and that's the sigil that I use. with
those
some
rules
things
that-
taken out.
All those
public.
rules that people tell you of, it needs to be enclosed in a circle, it needs to be done with this, you need to light it on fire, you need to put your blood on it, just guidelines. They're not rules. If it fucking works, it works.
Yeah, there are no rules. And some of my favorite sigils that I've made in a long time, I reuse them all the time. These were made, I wanted them to look like bind runes, so I actually used the English alphabet, but I really highly angularized them so there's no round edges at all. And then I just fit them together like bind runes, like they're just regular runes, and I just took letters and overlaid them, and you know, you got protection and serenity, and these are my two favorites lately right now. I've been using these a lot for like months now. So yes, can you see and hear how there might be a serenity in there? Of course, you got like an S and R, T a little bit. You can see it. Protection, it's a lot harder to see, but doesn't that look like something being reflected off of a wall? Doesn't that look like some kind of force coming down, bam, and just getting blocked? So I'm like, yeah, that's my protection sigil. That one's badass. So, you know, hey, make them how you want to make them, and they're going to work fine for you.
So
you are objectively wrong, Sigil. Yeah. Your sigil is objectively wrong, motherfucker.
So how do you guys feel about a new question?
Doesn't be good. I wouldn't put it on the handout. That'd be fine.
No, god damn it, CM. He talked about the blowhole sigil. Now you fucking manifested this.
This is kind of like the blowhole sigil right there. That's it. It's like a blow. That's it.
Well, it was a fun stream, you guys. Good night.
You know, super chats if you want to hear the little kid talk for the rest of the evening. Every time you do it, I say, shut up.
Woo! My man, CM. He's the big thinker here. Not only did he bring us blowhole and objectively wrong, but he's also got the Futanari transmorgification sigil.
Oof.
Oh shit.
Ash is like, what?
Hey, if you
people don't expect that coming out of me. Like when they hear, they expect you're on this on the control. Like I'm gonna say some kind of hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh no, it's the one who touched my blowhole. Didn't matter who touches my blowhole all the time. No.
It's okay. We both can enjoy it. I think I slipped a little bit into Mickey there. Okay, let's save this fucking. Okay, we're gonna hard transition into something else. So we need
that picture of the car making the hard turn. We need.
Yeah, let's just do that right now. So we have a question from Wyatt Coverdale.
Oh, not that motherfucker.
So he asks, I've been in the whole magic and philosophy thing for about 4 years, and I feel like it's changing me. I know this is good, and it's what I've been reaching for, but at the same time, I sometimes forget that I'm only 14. I want a childhood that doesn't involve constant depression and questioning reality, but at the same time, I don't want to be a brain-dead machine like the rest of the children I've known. What should I do? What would you do? And when should I drop the ball? Should I even stop? I can't tell if this knowledge is mending me or tearing me apart, and it's driving me a little crazy.
So I'm going to tell you something rudely, but I mean it with love. Every 14-year-old boy between the ages of 14 and 19 thinks that their world is some kind of emo hellhole. Not everyone, but let's put it this way. Surprise me by not being depressed.
Like, I hate that it's the rule, but it is unfortunately true.
It kind of is, yeah. I mean that with love, dude, because you're one of our longtime friends here. So.
Obviously, this doesn't invalidate anything that you're experiencing at all. It's more to just say that what you're experiencing, and I can attest for myself too. I went through that exact same thing. It's a pretty universal experience, unfortunately.
So number 2, don't foist it onto your magical or philosophical studies. You're going through a dark night of the soul, which everyone goes through many times in their lives, and the earlier the better in some cases. You've got to stop being so attached to outcomes and meaning and all of this stuff, and don't even look for pleasure or comfort. Lean into the displeasure, inoculate yourself from sorrow by just accepting that life pretty much sucks if you want to look at it that way. If you realize that you've got to take the pleasure and the pain together because you can't have one without the other, it becomes a lot better. And you're 14, okay? There are things that you're going to experience even in the next 2, 3, 4 years. They're going to knock you on your ass and make you either love or hate life. And I hope it's the former, because no matter how bad it gets, you're here because your higher self wants to be here. Your higher self is looking through your misery going, this is awesome. This is like, you're one of the most emo, coolest kids in the world right now. Let's come from the non-dual perspective for a moment, shall we? The universe is made by you, your higher self, not by you, Wyatt. Your higher self is the whole fucking show. So ask yourself, why is your highest self you right now? Number one, you have to accept, beyond a shadow of doubt, if you're remotely non-dual like I am, that your higher self fucking loves you. You are the coolest fucking thing it could be doing right now, because it could be doing anything else, but for whatever reason, it wants to be you right now. Why? I don't mean that facetiously. Why? It's got to be a reason for it. And if your answer is, I don't know, because I'm always in pain, maybe that's why. Maybe it needs that painful experience because it's learning something about you. So instead of looking at it like, oh, these things have to be better. Oh, I'm so mad at the world. Oh, I'm scared of this and climate change and guns and Biden and Trump and blah, 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 blah. Disconnect a little bit. Desensitize. Don't become detached, but become non-attached. Let go. Fully experience all of this, but realize that your higher self is not this person. You're not Wyatt. Wyatt is a mask you wear. You're only a visitor here pretending to be Wyatt for while it suits you. And someday it will be over. And it'll be over before you realize it, in a way that will happen probably by surprise. And when it does happen, unless you're doing this, you're probably gonna be like, oh shit, I'm not ready. I'm talking about even if it's really bad. So do not think that you're somehow special for your suffering. You're not.
I think, so I may be just restating what you said, but in a different way. Mm-hmm. Maybe you'll agree with this or not. Just, it's a lot of shadow work before you. Yeah. And
you're 14, bro. I mean, I got started around your age. I started with magic, I guess 13 or 14, 12. I forget the exact year. I really do. It's all a blur because my life was like a lot of hell going on. And honestly, I started with things. You're in some ways way more advanced than I am intellectually speaking. You know things. You're more like my friend Andreas when I was friends with him. You know a lot. You're a bookworm about this stuff. You study this stuff. You look it up. You hang around weirdos like me learning. You know what I did?
You hang around this caveman.
I just made this shit up when I was a kid. And then I bounced it off my friend Andreas, who would validate or invalidate what I said, and 95% of the time he validated it. So he was like, where did you learn this? I'm like, I don't know, it just came to me. Whoa, you must be a savant, right? An idiot savant. That was actually one of our first clues that I was channeling spirits, was because I could do that. It just came out of nowhere. So you're learning, and you're lucky that you're learning, because I never had the patience to learn like you're learning. At your age, I was telling everyone to fuck off. I didn't want to hear what they had to say. I'm still like that. I've always been like Rick Sanchez, like, fuck you all, I'm the original. Like, that's how I always have been. And, you know, I'm an autodidact. I learn by myself. I don't like to learn from others. I like to watch others from a distance go, how did they do that? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that now. You can ask anybody. If I like what you're doing, like, I learned how to do crystal wrap, not because I sat there and said, I need to learn how to crystal wrap. You know what I did? Someone sent me something once, and I was like, I want to see if I can make that. And I just looked up one tutorial, figured out what they were doing. This is cool. I can do that. And now I do crystal wrap. I mean, it's not hard for me. But that's how I am, and I'm autodidact. I can't learn if someone comes along and says, you have to learn this here, learn it this way, learn it that way. I can't learn that way. Just can't. Like, I just go, fuck you. You don't know. You don't know me. I'll do what I want. So you're lucky, dude. At your age, you're lucky. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of schools of thought, spiritually speaking, that will tell you that you really shouldn't be looking behind the curtain until you're in your 40s. It's not just the Jews, it's also a lot of Indian Hindu traditions will tell you you're supposed to learn all this up to this point, and then once you reach 30 or 40 or so, once you've established yourself as a householder, right, then you may start to really explore the difficult stuff. Same thing with Taoism. Taoism is thought to be like an older gentleman's mysticism, you know, when you're beyond the normal, like you've already established yourself, you've got your house, your family, kids are moving out. Around 30 or so, 40 or so, really, you know? And back in those days, 40 it felt a little older than it does now, right? So you're starting a little early. In some ways, you're not ready. In some ways, you're not ready to have your mind blown. But I would actually say the other thing. I would actually say that if we really wanted to teach people, if I were to have another kid, I would begin, hopefully, with a different process of education where instead of instilling in them an egoistic identity, I would try to instill in them a transcendent identity where instead of saying I, me, that's mine, it belongs to me, I'd maybe teach them to think in the third person more.
And
maybe.
That's
just a theory.
That's where
CPS comes in.
That's where your current child would just be, you know, telling their significant other one day, just like, yeah, and so that's why I'm the normal one. You wouldn't believe it, but...
Hey, you never know, though, because the kid I'd raise that way, they might be like, whoop, 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 and lifting shit up off the ground. Who the fuck knows? Because yeah, I think that...
Hey, it might be I'm the normal one. It's like, can you believe what happened to them? Or it could be, I'm the normal one. I missed out on that shit. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. No, but for real, why don't we teach our kids that they are, from the start, what they are? How come even Hindu cultures don't exactly, I mean, they do more. They are a little bit more likely. Like, if you go to, like, a little kid in India and you're like, I'm God, they'd be like, yeah, you just found out. Like, they're sort of taught that from a younger age, I guess. But I mean, really, really, really instill in children something that is not necessarily an egoistic identity, maybe. Because what ends up happening is when you're much older and set in your ways, it's a lot harder to realize that the person you think you are is just a story you tell yourself. That's not who you are at all. It's just, it's not even a secondary effect. It's a third, fourth layer effect, because it's a memory of an effect that's not even there anymore. Like, when you say, my name is Wyatt, who told you that? Where did that come from, dude? You didn't make that up. You didn't decide that. You don't know that. That's just somebody told you. You don't even know you're a boy. You don't know you're a girl. You don't know what the fuck you are until somebody tells you, because none of those things are real either. All of these things.
Concepts.
They're all concepts. They're all concepts. Doesn't mean that there isn't a science involved, but it's all concepts. It doesn't mean that there isn't something that can't be measured going on. It's just that what you measure isn't real either. All of these stories that you're told about yourself, when you're born, you're fed this whole line of shit about who and what you are. And then you've got to do something with it. And if you associate with it, that's ego. If you say, yes, I am Wyatt, ego just happened. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not downplaying it. I'm not saying it's bad to have an egoistic experience. What I'm telling you is the more egoistic you are, the more bound you are to a delusion. That's all. You can still be aware of that identity and say, D.H. Thorne is someone I play on TV. Wyatt is a person that I go by when I'm walking around in this world, but that is not who I am. If you can do that, your little miseries are going to go away. When I say go away, I don't mean you're not going to experience them, though. I'm going to say that what it's like is, imagine you're living in an apartment where there's a wild party going on. Okay, and you can't get to sleep. Your windows are wide open, and the noise is coming in, and you're just pissed off, and you can't go to sleep. So what do you have to do? You got to close the windows, and you got to put the pillow over your ears, and then it gets knocked down to a dull roar, just a little thumping in the distance. You can never tune out the unpleasantness. You can never get rid of it. You're never supposed to. But what you can do is distance yourself from that displeasure so that you still fully experience it, but you don't sit there going, I'm in pain. You go, there is pain, and I just happen to be experiencing it. You're sidestepping those things a little bit. You're stepping away from them a little bit. You're not becoming detached, you're becoming non-attached. It's kind of like, have you ever been to the dentist and had to get a tooth pulled? The reason I say this is because you're along for the fucking ride when that happens. Because the dentist is going to knock your ass out or pitch you with the gas or something, and at some point you're just, ooh, it's happening, and you can't do anything about it. Or like having a car accident, you're just along for the ride. It's happening. And when that happens, ask my wife, she'll tell you about a car accident story. You can feel complete non-attachment from that accident when it happens. Right, Miss Kamila?
Yeah. Well, you want me to tell that story?
Sure, go ahead. You've been so quiet, I'm putting you on the spot now.
And, you know, if I can interrupt real quick before you do, one thing, before we get off it too much, I do want to say, too, like, props to you, Wyatt, for asking a very, like, personal question and open, because that takes guts, especially because I know you had a buddy here. So
yeah, that's true.
Fucking respect where respect is due.
I'm giving you the stoic king speech, okay? Like I'm saying, okay, young king, time to toughen up. Because everybody else would be like, oh, you poor baby, go take a nappy. And I mean that like they mean that in a nice way. They're going to coddle you about it. They'll be like, oh, it's not so bad. Go look on the bright side. I'm telling you, motherfucker, it's going to get worse. You had better get used to it.
You're unfortunately, you're right in the middle of like tower after tower after tower.
Yes.
That's all what that age range is about.
You're growing hair in weird places. People are starting to look ways that you didn't realize they looked. Man, I don't envy you. Or maybe I do. It's kind of fun. But
God, I feel so much like my fucking dad right now. Just like, oh, you'll understand when you're older.
I didn't actually mind being 13 or 14. That actually didn't bother me. It was actually like the 18, 19. That really hurt. But the 13, 14 was just crazy. But I was just like, whatever.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
I
18, 19 is a different type of tower. It's like, oh, fuck, can I go back to having no responsibilities?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I gotta feed myself? Oh, shit.
I have to pay my car insurance? Why?
What the fuck are taxes?
Oh, man.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Before I interrupted, you had a very light subject for us, a car accident.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is actually the day after my bachelorette party.
Please tell me you were still in your fairy tale outfit or a medieval outfit.
No, that was for the wedding.
Okay.
No, but for my bachelorette party, we did go to medieval times. But, we were heading to a diner in the morning. I guess it was around lunchtime, really, by the time we rolled out of bed. Heading up to get some pancakes, and a lady, it's a busy road. The school was having a freaking car wash that we were passing by. And the lady in front of me decides to slam on her brakes and try to pull a right-hand turn out of nowhere to go to the freaking car wash. Because, I found out she was going to a baby shower. So she had to get her car clean. Well, anyway, I slam into the back of her. And as I slam into the back of her, I was behind us. I was in the back seat.
That's how hard she hit. She just went, no, I'm kidding.
My awareness was in the back seat. I saw me and my friend from behind as the airbags deployed.
So was it like the out-of-body experience in the sense of you were looking at your own physical body, or was it just like a blank spot there and you were just experiencing it all but from a different point?
No, I saw our physical bodies.
Fuck.
Yeah, she basically had an out-of-body experience, which, I don't think I've ever had like that. I know people are like, oh, Thorne, you're always talking about, yeah, but I've never had what other people call an out-of-body experience that I can think of. I've had some pretty wild-ass experiences, but I've never really had that.
I thought I was hallucinating.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to make of it at the time. I was, what, 22? I was young.
It is reasonable to assume that it's possible that your consciousness was like, nope, don't want to be front row for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was only an instant, because then I was right back in, you know?
Yeah.
Cameron's
asking...
that was the only time I ever experienced anything like that. I mean, I've had other experiences where I went inside myself.
Cameron's asking, did time slow down for you?
No.
Did it speed up?
No.
Huh. Just all the same, just from, looking at the back of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying, another person said, did you mean near-death experience? And no, she didn't,
no.
but, I mean, it was, in a way it was.
Near
but,
death.
yeah, no, she didn't get hurt at all. She was perfectly fine.
No, I was sore, but that was it. No, it wasn't, the car was totaled, but I was fine.
Yeah.
Didn't even go to the hospital.
You had a full tank of gas, too. Your dad had to siphon it all out. I remember that.
Fresh tank of gas, brand new tires. Yeah, that works.
Well, that's what happened to my car. I got brand new tires, and 2 weeks later, the thing cracked in half. Like, the whole thing literally split in half.
That's why I just...
Yeah, the broken frame. It's fucking hysterical.
And
I was like,
did
the new tires break?
Just don't do maintenance on your vehicle, because listen to anybody, the moment you do maintenance on your vehicle and you get that expensive repair or upgrade, your car is going to experience problems. So just never maintain it, drive a rust bucket. It will last forever.
However, my other accident where my car was totaled, a lady hit me from behind and spun me around. I just put a $1,500 repair on that car. Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And Blue Book value was like $1,500 car. Her insurance company paid me 3 times that.
Yep. Which is weird, considering they probably called you at fault for it.
They gave me $4,500 for a $1,500 car.
Yeah.
Do the repairs.
Yeah, everyone's saying glad you're okay. Atropa's saying she got hurt in an accident once. Her hip got broken in 2 places, her sternum too. Sorry, Atropa, sweetheart. That's not good. I'm glad you're okay now.
Yeah.
I've never knowingly broken a bone as far as I know. I've chipped a tooth, but I've tried. I'm just kidding. I haven't tried, but I've done shit that should have broke bones. I have very thick bones, so lucky. I really dread the day I'm not lucky, because I've heard that a person like me, when I finally break a bone, it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be so much worse.
I think I broke your share of bones in my own body. I think that's what happened.
I think you did. Yeah, you notice a car always dies right after you get it fixed, or a couple of payments away from when you own it.
Yeah.
Especially an American car. Oh, I got 5 more payments. It's gonna cry. It's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you from breaking my own bone, because I was like you for the longest time. Doesn't hurt at all. It just feels kind of weird. Like, oh, that doesn't work. Of course, I was unconscious when it happened, but
do it. I've heard the opposite, but I've also heard what you said. I've heard mixed opinions. Some people say it hurts like a fucker, and some people are like, it feels like a toothache in your arm or something. It's bad, but it's like there's worse things you could feel. I don't know. I'm not sure myself. I've actually, my 2 front teeth got broke once. So I was in a bicycle accident, and the way that I had that was weird. A big bright flash just went outside. It wasn't lightning. That was interesting. Like somebody.
Might be lightning. We were supposed to go.
No, I just said it wasn't.
Happening.
Could you shut up? It was like somebody scanned a spotlight past the house. I wonder if there's a helicopter going over. Anyway,
things have been happening lately.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I just saw it again. It could be that somebody's missing and they're scanning with a helicopter, but I'd hear it if it was.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, get the gun.
Right there.
If that is Americanism.
When I broke my 2 front teeth, I was riding my bicycle 40 miles an hour down a hill, and I hit a dirt patch, and it let go, and my front wheel literally went 90 degrees the wrong way, and so it stopped short, and I went, and I tried to stop myself with my hands, and that did no good. That's how fast I was going, but it must have slowed me down. But my teeth basically stopped me. My teeth were my brakes, and it just like, bing, and probably sparks were coming off my front teeth. And my 2 front teeth, I guess it could have been so much worse, but I got the classic Coke bottle fracture in my 2 front teeth, and I didn't feel anything. I felt like I got up, dusted myself off. I felt the little road rash. I was like, "Ow, all right, whatever. I'm okay. Nothing's wrong." When I said nothing, my teeth, my tongue, I went in the hole, and I didn't feel any pain. It was just like they're missing, they're gone. That's not okay. So I don't know. I've had teeth rot out of my head and not even know. Like I'm like,
it had a hole right on through it.
Yeah, didn't even know. No toothache or anything. The only time I actually felt any pain was when I got an infection in my. So I've never felt the pain. People are like, toothaches hurt more than anything. I'm like, the only time I can say yes was when one got an abscess in my sinuses. That was the tooth didn't hurt at all. Like I never felt the pain of my teeth at all. So.
So I think it's time for another question. Shinjini says that they were in a near-death car accident just last week. Fucking yikes!
We haven't seen Jin in a while. Yeah, I guess.
I'm glad
all right,
you're
hope
still
you're okay.
here with us.
Yeah.
So we have a question from early in the stream. This is from Jasmine Bonaga.
Jasmine, if you're here, we're finally listening.
Would you do a channeling of Azazel?
No. Azazel and I, we don't. We're not enemies or anything, but Azazel and I, we don't vibe the way other people vibe with Azazel. I have worked with him. I did a 30-day working with him to get me Gnosis for Shadownomicon, and occasionally I will bring him up. It's interesting you brought him up because just last night I sent a mental nod to him, like, "Hey, if there's anything you want to tell me, go ahead." So maybe you're telling me that I'm supposed to do a working with him, but I'm never going to do a public channeling of him. That's not one that I would do. In fact, Lucifer is probably the only one I will do public channelings of from time to time, simply because it's like perfectly resonant with who I am, so it's easier. I will do channelings of spirits privately. You know, that's a different story. I don't offer them as a service anymore, but I will do it in person with the right people. I don't like to do it publicly anymore, just for reasons. I feel like I've proven myself enough, and it's all for me now, you know. At some point, like, people don't realize is that short of writing books and being a teacher, I am not here to do rituals for you unless it's because you absolutely can't. Or you want to have the experience of a skilled sorcerer do them for you or something. It's not about getting outcomes. You know, if you're coming to me because you think I'm the only one who can bring your girlfriend back to you or something stupid, I'm going to make fun of you. I just am. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you the hard truth. You know, and I want you to do the magic. I want you to learn how to do these things so that you can realize that failure is a big part of the success. You've got to realize that magic never fails. You never, ever, ever, ever do a ritual and it fails. You've got to get that thinking out of your head, and you've got to realize that the failures are actually what your higher self is guiding you towards. The magic is just an encapsulation of it. You've got to recognize that the reason you failed is probably because the thing you're asking for is not what you're supposed to have. You know, it's like when your dog wants a pack of dark chocolate and you're like, "No, you little shit," and they get all upset and cry in the corner. If they got that dark chocolate, they'd be fucked. So when you're coming to me going, "Oh, Thorne, you got to get my girlfriend back for me. She was the best thing for me," after you're sitting there telling me how she got you locked up because she punched you in the eye and stole your money and shit, you know, you're an idiot, bro. You're an idiot, girl. You're an idiot person. Don't be so stupid. And I'm not just talking about the girlfriend, but I'm talking about all of these things. You got to let that go. You got to completely let it go. Stop treating magic like a fucking vending machine. If you're here, like, we should get Eddie on again, because Eddie will tell you this. Like, I forget what he said. There's like not stumbling blocks, but there's like 3 early stage things that people do wrong. And the first is, for them, magic is about the gimme gimmes. You know, what can I get out of it? What can I get rich? Can I get sex? Can I get popular? Can I get powerful? You know, the genie in a bottle syndrome. That's the first misstep. The second misstep is the experiential misstep, where you're like, "Oh, I want to have the wildest paranormal experiences and all that." That's a bit of a misstep. I forget what he said the third one was, but I agreed with him that it was. I forget what it was.
I think that's good. We'll have to get him back on to explain the full thing.
Yeah, we'll have to get him back on. He actually asked to be on my next class on Monday. And I forgot to tell him that I wouldn't mind. He's welcome to be a guest instructor if he wants to be, since we're thinking about talking about invocation a lot. So I might, if you're watching this, Eddie, just remind me. I think I will have you on this Monday. So for those of you who don't know, on Mondays I do a private lecture class through Discord, and you got to join my Patreon at the I forget what it's called. Was it video training? No, video. I forget what I called it. Oh shit. Anyway, it's one of the $20 tiers. Okay, it's a $20 tier. It's like third tier. If you join either one of those, really, I can get you access, but you got to let me know. But it'll tell you, like, I think it's like live training class or something.
I'm just gonna go and look it up real quick.
Okay. If you sign up for that, it's $20 a month, and there's at least 3 of them, usually 4 of them a month, every Monday at 9 p.m. till about 10 p.m. It lasts about an hour, and we do everything from meditation to lecture to everything in between, question and answer. It's not as goofy as this. It's actually very serious. It's way more structured.
You called it your online video class Discord.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that answered the questions. I hope that was resonant with the questions.
We have another one here. After this, I think I'll read a story from one of our viewers that they sent in. But
yeah, is that the illustrious Red Rabbit, or is it go by their other name with a J? Because they said they were going to send you one.
I think I know who you're talking about, and I actually read theirs last week.
No, there's someone who said they were going to send it today or yesterday. So it was a newer one.
Oh, I think I know. Okay, you'll see.
Okay, all right.
I think I pieced it together.
I'd actually like to, if you don't mind, Fleshy. Like, I think we should have a story segment every week. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's it.
That's what I'm doing. I'm aiming for it. I fucking love these stories.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it a thing. Like, you know, we've got our Thorne rants for an hour. We got question and answer time. Let's have story time, and I'm liking the stories lately.
I love story time.
Fuck yeah. So this question not the story yet, but the question comes from GoGo earlier in the stream. I have a question about clinical death. The people who have clinical death, who gives them these messages for people on Earth? That being God, an angel, a demon, something else?
I'm not quite sure what their question is. Like, I think their structure of English is bad because they only have like 200 characters to write it in. So, yeah,
it's limited, like 200 characters, and I think what they're asking is about why people receive messages to pass on to people on Earth when they have the experiences of clinical death after they've clinically passed on and then come back. Why do they receive these visions, and why so often is it, I have something to tell you all back here that the other side wanted you to know?
So here's the deal. My new book has a lot of this kind of stuff in it, because one of the things I'm trying to really bring to the magical community now is a better understanding of what you are and why you're able to transcend your current experiences and shift timelines to new experiences. So it's very important that you learn that your body is not you. Your body has nothing to do with you. That is to say, your body itself is literally a pattern in infinite chaos that looks like you. When I say looks like you, I mean the thing you identify yourself as. It resembles the identity that you have. You've been told that this body is yours. You see through the vestiges of this body. Yes, that is true, but it is like a pinhole. Okay, when you look through a microscope, do you believe that you are the microscope if you look through it long enough? In theory, that's what's happening. You've come to decide that you're the microscope because that's your aperture. That is your sensory device. you know.
Or like having a dream where you are somebody else, or at least in a different body. You still identify as you, even though this physical fucking mash of what you identify as you is completely non-existent.
Yeah, and Joffrey's saying your body is a vehicle that you are in. No, I would even go further than that. It's not even that. Your body is not a vehicle at all. I mean, yes, metaphorically you could say, perhaps, it's like a vehicle. Your body is a thing that your attention is focused on. Your body is within you. You're not in the body. The body is in you. You're the whole fucking thing. The real you is all of this shit. The entirety of the universe is you. And I don't mean just this universe. I mean all universes. That's you. But for whatever reason, your infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent consciousness is focusing its attention only on the activity in your brain. It's not even focusing on your fucking body. It's focusing on the attention in your brain. So all it's really paying attention to is a little signal pattern that's happening in what you call a brain. That's all it's aware of. So that means that when I say like everything you see is a secondary attribute, it's actually more like at the long end of a very long chain of events. You're really only seeing what your brain is telling you. So you're not even in your body. You're what you are is non-local. So to say that your body is a vehicle that you're within, and I know that Joffrey meant it probably in a nice way. No, the spirit is not trapped in the body, Joffrey. Not at all. Not even a little bit. You're not trapped in anything. You've chosen to look through the eyes of this body. I know this for a fact because it's something that you can toy with, even just with some psychedelics. You can find this out very easily. You don't have to spend 1,000 years in Tibet staring at a wall. You drop a heroic dose, you're going to find out this body is nothing. Ask anyone who's done it. One of the first things you have is an experience you go, oops, I'm not the body, oops. You definitely will have that experience. I promise you. It's pretty much, it's one of those universal experiences that people, when they have what they call ego death, they realize that their body and their identity even isn't who they are. They realize that they're not those things. So the body is not even a thing you're trapped in. You're not trapped in it. You've chosen to be here. The trap is your own mind, if you will. The trap is your own ignorance. It's not even a trap. You're absolutely free anytime to let go. But you don't want to. That's the problem. Now, the reason why you don't want to, well, that's a personal question. It's always different for everybody. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's just simply you don't know better. For other people, it's just you enjoy it. I know better now. But you know what? If given the opportunity, I'd still come back here for whatever reason. I enjoy this reality. I enjoy my life, even when I don't. This is where I want to be. And someday I won't be. It will go away. So this idea of death and life and all of this is part of the egoistic delusion. You can't die. What you are can never die. The thing which, only that which has been born can die. And you are not that thing that has been born. What you are is a center of awareness within an infinite expanse of consciousness. That's what you really are. Everything that you think you are is a thing that's happening within a field of consciousness. That includes the body, that includes your illusion that you're trapped in it. That's all happening inside an imaginary field of consciousness. And I say this with such hard affirmation. You know, I'm so objectively assertive about it because I can't unlearn that. There's no science, there's no argument that you could ever present to me that would ever tell me that I didn't experience those things that I experienced through meditation. You can never come to me like, Thorne, you are not the universe because blah, 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 blah. I'll say, fine, I might not be your universe. That's not it, but I had that experience. I can't take that away. What I experienced was, you know, like they say, what has been seen cannot be unseen. And just like I can't make you see something by describing it, you can't make me unsee it by arguing me out of it. You know, it's like that whole Picard thing. There are 4 lights. It's like that.
I appreciate that reference. I just got back. Did you guys already mention the super chat?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm not doing my job.
Nope, that's my job and I stepped away. That's my bad.
You're fired.
So we have a super chat from Jojo Blair, says, love y'all.
Oh, thank you, Jojo.
Thank you very
love you
much.
too, I think. I mean, I'd like to say I love you, but I probably would. If you love us, we'd probably love you. Let's be honest.
And I wanted to say too, Wyatt was asking if he could get on. We're
not accepting guests for a long time. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, at this moment, I'm not even sure if we can get more guests on because of the new stream setup. We stopped using Melon, which was going to be easy but bad in a lot of other ways, and this is a lot better, but also growing pains. We're figuring it out. So Kamila's the first actual guest we have on. So,
and we can only do, like, they've got to be guests that stick through the whole thing, because when that shuts, like, certain weird things happen, and it's like someone takes a shit on the stream and it doesn't work out. So
yeah, as far as call-in guests go, it's going to be a little bit difficult until we get everything fully ironed out and get this software fucking beaten into submission.
Probably the only way we could do it would be an audio call, and that probably I haven't been in the mood to do those in a while, so we'll see. But we'll see, because Discord would be a way to do it, and if we did want to do it again, because that's not such a big deal, because that's just an audio feed, which is something I can do right now even. But I'm not really, lately I've been like, yeah, I don't feel like having just random people on lately. But I'm not saying it won't happen.
Yeah, it's nice. Take a little bit of a break from it and then hit it again strong when we do get into it.
Sadistic Tornado, why does life have to have any meaning at all whatsoever? My point here is that what objective meaning would be good enough for cosmic infinite consciousness to do all of this? You know, what you're asking a question like you don't know the answer already. The fact that you're even asking the question is important. It's one of those things where, so it says, what's the meaning of life? You get a nihilist gets all upset because there's no meaning to life. There's objectively nothing that you can point to that is the meaning of life. So they get all upset. That's a clue. Why are you upset if there's no meaning to life? It's almost like you're saying that's the meaning of life, is to give it meaning. To make it have meaning by experiencing it and interpreting it and doing as thou wilt. It's almost like that's the meaning. The meaning is to give it meaning. The meaning is to have the experience and give it meaning, because ultimately you're everything. You're omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. You have intentionally forgotten that. That's what you don't realize. You have intentionally forgotten that you're the whole thing. Why would anything do that? Well, let's think about it for a minute. Just for fun. Imagine that you knew everything. Could you enjoy a television show anymore? You'd know everything about it. Could you enjoy a mystery anymore? No, you'd know how it ends. Could you even have the experience of pleasure if you were omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent? If you were all those things, you could never have a need, a want, or a desire that wasn't immediately fulfilled before it even turned into a need, a want, or a desire. Think about it. Imagine you woke up this morning. You didn't have to eat any food. In fact, you didn't even have to go to sleep, but we're just going to, for argument's sake, you woke up this morning. You don't have a beautiful breakfast because you're not hungry, because you're already full. You don't even know what hunger feels like. You don't know what food tastes like because you've never needed it. You don't know what it feels like to take a nice deep breath on a crisp morning because you never need air. You're always fully satiated. You don't have to go to work. You don't even have to listen to music, because the moment you feel like you want to listen to music, boom, it's already done. Every positive experience has already happened. It's already fully there, experience, bang. So there's no sense of pleasure or pain. No want, no desire, no fulfillment, nothing. So another way to think of it is like this. If ultimate reality is a non-dual thing, that implies that all duality is illusory. That also implies that in the ultimate nature of non-dual reality, all opposites collide and cancel each other out. So when you cancel all things out, what are you left with? Oblivion, nothing. You're left with the gap, chaos. That's what you're left with. Now, oblivion is total peace. It's not misery, it's not scary. You're still there, consciousness is still there, but it's total peace and bliss. Peace and bliss doesn't mean happiness and pleasure, by the way. Peace and bliss means just, when you go to sleep tonight, you're going to experience it. Everyone does. In between dreams, in between going to sleep and waking up. That's the oblivion of ultimate, full, final form incarnation. It's something you can't translate into words, but you know you've experienced it. You know it's there. Everybody does. That's what's waiting for a lot of people when they think they die. Not everybody. There's a lot of other options. So, what meaning is there to a being that knows everything, has everything, and is everything? It's absurd as a question. So what does infinite consciousness do? It says, this is really nice and pleasant. But you know what? I'm going to forget that I am all these things. I'm going to forget that I am everything. And I'm going to pretend I'm just a little piece of what I am. I bring you back to the old question, how does God make a rock that God can't move? Because it's a paradoxical question. If God is all powerful, then God should be able to make a rock that he can't move or she can't move. But if God can make such a rock, then God's not all powerful anymore because God can't move the rock. So how do you actually rationally defeat this question so it's not a paradox anymore? There is an answer. Ignorance. God has to forget that God is all powerful. God creates a rock of any size. This big is fine. You make a rock this big. And then it also makes a little ant that can't move this rock for shit. And then God says, I'm not the rock anymore. I'm just the ant, and totally allows itself to forget that it's the whole thing. You can do this right now. We can even do this little experiment if you want when I'm done. So God forgets that it's the whole show and thinks, I'm just the ant, and now it can't move the rock. Hey, it just created a rock that it can't move. To satisfy the other side of the equation, then the ant has to wake up and realize it's God, and then it goes, ha, look at that. I can move this rock anytime I want. It gets to have its cake and eat it too. Now you can do this right now. You can do this right now. You can actually test what I'm telling you. Because everybody has it within their capacity to tune out most of their body and focus on some part of their body to the exclusion of the others, pretty much entirely. I don't mean like to the point where you can't feel anything. I mean, you can focus your attention on your hand and focus primarily so that all your other sensations fade away. Sure, if somebody like came over and chopped your hand off, you'd feel it. But you can tune most of it out and only focus on one little thought, on one little part of your body. If you can do that, then that means your infiniteness could do the same thing, but in an even more powerful way. It could completely tune out everything else that it is. and focus only on this. That's exactly what's going on. So when you're asking me, what is the meaning of life? The meaning of life is, you asked. There is no objective meaning. There is no universal meaning. There is no meaning that says the reason you are here is to learn. That is such a cliched bullshit answer. You're not here to learn or improve or grow or love and light bullshit.
Experience.
You're here to just be here. And to ask those questions and to make those answers for yourself. That's why. Because everybody, when they ask that question and they hear there is no answer, everybody goes, there's got to be an answer. Why? Why does there have to be an answer? Would your life be dumb if there was no meaning to it? If so, why? What are you doing wrong? Do you know what happens when you tell me there's no meaning to life? You know what I do? I go, oh, fucking thank God. You mean there's no requirement? I can do whatever I want now? There's no meaning to it? Oh, thank God. That means I can fart in one hand and shit in the other and throw it at people and it's fine. That's what it means.
Do without will. Probably was right.
Here.
Yeah, say something, my wife.
I feel like I am different from a lot of people in that respect because I never really ever myself felt that I needed a meaning to life.
Right.
I figured I'm just here to enjoy the ride.
Right. That's it. You are here as a reflection of the bliss that you are. Period. Even when your whole body's sawed in half with a bamboo saw in ancient China because you pissed off the governor of your province. Okay? I mean, whatever your fucked up story is.
Yeah, I think a lot more people would be, I was going to say happy, but I feel like would be better said feel less anxiety if they viewed things that same way. And we have a super chat here from Asarte Azeroth. I always feel like I'm butchering these names. I'm sorry, guys. It says, hi, DH. How do you reconcile non-dualistic Advaita
Vedanta, which they're basically saying non-dualistic Vedanta. Yes. Because that's what Advaita means, is non-dual.
Thank you. One ultimate goal with the left-hand path, emphasis on continued ascent. And
so,
thank you for
the left-hand path, continued ascent, is the westernized left-hand path. Advaita Vedanta and Vamchara or Vama, I forget the other word for it. It sounds basically the same. Vamchara is an unorthodox path, which basically understands the same thing. You are God, and so all of your practices are meant to awaken to that fact, period. It's not really ascension. That's a Western conceptualization of I am inferior and I need to improve. That's not my version of left-hand path. I don't practice that. So that feature of a Western left-hand path, I don't see that. I think that's nonsense. You're already a perfect being. So what does it mean then to ascend? It actually means to wake up and recognize that you're a perfect being. You don't become better at anything. That's silly. I know it doesn't seem like it because we're all trapped in this mortal illusion. Like, I've got to learn this and I got to get better at archery and driving and talking to people. It's a skill I have to learn. Are you actually improving though? Or are you just picking up a skill? What does it mean to improve something? How do you improve something? What makes something better than something else? Isn't that entirely a game of preferences based on your own assumptions and egoistic identity? Saying that, you know, I don't know, pick something that's objectively better than something else, you know? Like $5 is better than $10. I've improved because I've got $10. It's 2 slips of fucking paper. You haven't improved because you've got $10 over 5. You've changed circumstances and they're more preferable to you. That's it. So the idea that you can improve into a better version or become God by becoming more powerful is absurd. It actually isn't what is taught at all. which is one of the reasons why I'm a little different from the Western, mostly hocus pocus, superstitious version of left-hand path spirituality. I'm way more in line with, and I'm not because I don't practice Hinduism. So therefore the things that matter to that left hand don't matter to me. You know, it's like, oh, don't eat meat, don't do this, don't do that. But the very broad principle below it fits me just fine. So this idea that you're ascending into godhood, I mean, you can see me rolling my eyes how tiresome and ignorant that opinion is. Because if you know what you are, such a thing, and I hate to be shitting on other people's beliefs, I really do. I really, really do. But I do that because it's like, Fleshy, help me out here. It's like you know better.
So, hot take, but, you know, somebody, I think, CM, made the analogy of grinding in World of Warcraft. Would you say that it's not so much about, you know, objectively improving yourself to become a better woodworker, become better at archery, become a better driver or anything like that, but...
Can I ask you a question? You brought up a really good example.
What's that, the Warcraft thing?
Yeah, you brought up the grinding in Warcraft.
Oh, that
okay?
That was CM, not me.
No, but you brought it up because he brought it up. When you are grinding, you're skipping over so much content to reach endgame content because you've got it in your head that it's better to play at level whatever. I guess it's back to 60 now. It's better to play at level 60 than level 30. Why? Why do you think that? Because somebody told you that, because it's an egoistic decision you've had. You're having just as much fun all the way there. If you let yourself, you have even more fun all the way there. There's nothing objectively better about the level 60 game than there is the level 30 game. There's nothing objectively better about it. It's a perception you have. It's an ignorance you have to think that. The fun you have when you beat a game, right? Or how about this? When you listen to a song, do you try to get through the song as fast as you fucking can to get to that very last note because that's improving the song? No, you idiot. Sorry, I'm saying that funnily. I don't really mean you're an idiot.
Hey, I listen to speedcore. That's the whole point.
Do you go to the very end of the song because that's the point of the song? Of course not. Who does that? I mean, I skip around a song to know if I'm going to like it, then I'll listen to it, sure. But the point of the song is not to go, let's finish this as fast as we can and finish the song. Now I'm better for it. No. That's completely ass backwards.
That sounds like the inspiration for napalm deaths you suffer. Those who know will know.
I don't know, but I have a feeling.
Hold on, I'm sorry, indulge me a little bit, but I'm going to give my performance of the song real quick.
That sounds right. That's what I was imagining. It would be something like that.
And Asarte wanted
I know what she said. She thinks you could be perfect and still develop. No. There's nothing to develop. The development is actually a wiping away of ignorances. And that is only a process that you make lengthy because it's more fun to do it that way. That's it. It's not an improvement game. You're still playing the game. Go listen to Alan Watts over and over and over again. Because what you're going to find out, it puts it very clearly. The improvement game is one of the most silly games that you can play. Because every time you think, I'm going to improve, or I'm going to perfect myself, or I am going to, I'm going to develop, you're literally putting perfection that much further away every time you do it. You're literally saying, I'm not perfect yet. Why not? Well, I could still improve. I could still develop. That's silly. Everything you are is exactly perfect right now, because to say otherwise is to deny that you're doing it all. You're already doing all of it. Everything that is done by you already. The only thing you can do is awaken to that fact, and only if you want to, because it's not better to awaken. People get this stupid idea, being awakened is so superior. Do I seem that fucking superior? Although I do have a little bit of an arrogant streak. Do I seem that superior? I fucking shit and it stinks. I fucking stub my toe and it hurts. I have every experience that you guys have. Yes, I do magic. Am I rich? Am I this? Am I that? I live a charmed life, but that's because I see it as charmed. It's not because anything special happens to me. There's nothing better objectively about me than you. Zero. If I'm better than you, it's because I realize I don't have to be.
I really feel like enlightenment, the whole experience can basically be summarized as just, oh.
Yes,
fuck, I'm out of toilet
it.
paper.
No, that's it. But yeah, enlightenment literally is. It literally, the word enlightenment, I guess the word nirvana means to breathe out. That's what it means. It's to let a load off. It's to fucking put it on. This whole, I'm developing, I must develop. That's the illusion. I mean, you could say that one of the reasons we're here is to experience, and experience requires not knowing everything, and so it means to scan through reality step by step and experience more of ourselves, and if you could call that development, fine, but that's not really, it's not, development has a specific meaning. Development means to become and to improve to this and that. You don't need to do that. You know how I know this? Because when you awaken to anything, there's no development involved. It just happens. There is literally no process to awakening. There's nothing, there's no level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 99. I'm awake now. That's not how it works. It is literally, holy shit, that's how it is.
Hits you like a train.
It's a sudden train hitting you, and it's just a sudden wreck. No shit. That's pretty much it. And you have that no shit moment as often as you need it. You don't get better at it.
And I don't want to cut this short, but we had a super chat. I'm not sure, they might have been responding to this current topic, but super chat from Sadistic Tomato said, "Thanks guys. For the answer, my ego was attached to one point of view, but that answer broke the camel's back." Thank you.
You're welcome, brother.
And thank you for
and Astarte, I'm
super
not
chat.
arguing semantics. We do have to define terms. So arguing semantics is it does happen sometimes, but that's not what I'm doing. If we have to define terms, you have to define a term, I've got to define a term. So you're saying development, define development. My definition of development is like this improvement, practice. Like you're developing a skill, perfecting something, improving something. That's an experience you can have, sure. But that's not, you don't need to do that. You literally don't need to do that. That's not spiritual. That's egoistic. That's actually the opposite of what you are. You can set yourself a goal. Well, then you don't see development the same way. Fine. You have a completely different word. Perfection in time. I disagree with you. Perfection in time, you're already perfect. You don't get more perfect. You can't become more perfect. You know why you don't like this? Because ego doesn't like to be perfect. Because it invalidates it. When ego says, I'm already perfect, there's no point to doing any of this, it goes, well, what the fuck, man? It suddenly loses its sense of identity. It suddenly realizes that it's invalid, it's an illusion, and ego can't stand being an illusion. It's got to be taught that it's an illusion and understand that it's an illusion, and then it subsides. It stops being such a big deal. If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll see I don't tell you to improve at anything. I don't teach you to get better at shit, and you don't see me talking about how I got better really at things in a spiritual way. I might learn a skill, sure. But I'm not talking about You must ascend through these levels of development. Those levels of development were put there for people who can't let go of their ego, to sort of train them a little bit at a time. Just so that they have something to do. Because they're hoping that the more you struggle against this infinite mountain of ascension, that you're going to give up. They're hoping that you're going to go, man, that's too tall a mountain. I can't finish this shit. Maybe I'll got to do it in the next life. And in that moment of letting go of that goal, maybe it'll occur to you that the goal itself was a red herring, that the goal was silly. You know what you can improve at? You can improve at the linguistics of talking about these things. I did not achieve what I've achieved because I didn't achieve anything. It just happened. I didn't work towards enlightenment. I was just there one day and it occurred to me. Literally, that's what it was like. I didn't go to 100 gurus and be like, teach me to be enlightened. That is pretty much a trap. And it's a trap that's laid for you because sometimes that's the only way to learn. Some people, that's how they learn. They have to go and struggle against this delusion until eventually, sooner or later, they realize what a silly quest they were on the whole time. Waking up to this is like realizing that the glasses you've been looking for have been there the whole time and you just forgot. You can't gradually learn that. You can't ascend to finding your glasses on your head. You just kind of give up. You go, oh, where the fuck? Oh, that's where they were. That's what it's more like. That doesn't mean that you can't go and learn a million skills and meditate and learn to master your mind and all of these things. You can learn all that, but that's a start. I'm actually not even listening to you. You say I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing it because I'm not reading you. I'm just going on by what you said before. And I'm talking about stuff for other people. Right now, you're making this about me and you. You kind of don't exist to me right now. You asked a question, I'm talking about the question. If you want to have a debate, that's a different thing entirely. So I'm responding to things you're saying occasionally. And even your comment, I've spent 20 plus years living with non-dualistic Kashmir Shiva. I know the system. I got a pretty good view of my ego. That was a very egoistic comment. I don't know if you meant it to display how egoistic it was, but that was a very egoistic comment. None of what you said tells me that you've mastered it. It's like you're wearing a badge that says, I did this for 20 years, so I know better. It's very important to you to know better. But if you go to pretty much any of those masters, they're probably going to tell you to relax and to not be trying to assert this. My philosophy comes from a different school of thought. It's much more Zen. It's much more you are already that. Tatvamasi doesn't mean you become it. You already are it. Yes, Fleshy, go.
This might be a little bit of a callback, but CM Helnikainen points out, time to crack out the you are objectively wrong sigil.
Hey, I'm not an Advaitin. I don't know why you've asked me this in emails. You've asked me these things. I'm not an Advaitin. I never said I was. I like Advaita Vedanta, but I'm not an Advaitin. I'm not a Zen monk. I'm none of these things. I'm a completely self-originating entity. I woke up one day and this is what I know. Don't like it? Don't learn from me. If you want to argue it, start your own channel and argue it there. Teach your own thing. That's fine. But you're not going to change my mind. This is not how this works.
You don't have a Crowder's table?
No, not for this, because this is not a thing where you can be like, facts, logic, reason, therefore you're wrong. I'm talking my experience. When I say you're wrong, I'm talking from my experience. I'm saying the thing I've experienced says that that's not the way it works for me. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm ever going to improve at it. I'm never going to become more the universe than I already am. Neither are you. Just not going to happen. You have to let go of this, I am going to become the universe. Not saying that that's what you're doing, by the way. I'm just saying you have to let go of this, I'm going to become the universe. You're already that. You are already there. I didn't think we weren't friends, Astardi. I didn't think that. I didn't think we weren't friends. She says, this is cool, Thorne. We are still friends. I didn't think we weren't. I'm just responding to the things you're saying.
I do appreciate. I mean, there are some people sometimes, but we have a pretty good track record for people who can separate the argument from the person, whatnot.
Yeah,
so, like,
I'm pretty
have
good
a discussion.
At that. Yeah,
I appreciate the fuck out of that.
Yeah, no, I think we could definitely do that. That's not. I can tell when someone is coming at me like, you know, with what's that word? Not just
vitriol.
Aggression. Yeah, vitriol.
Malice.
Exactly. Like strongly disagreeing is fine. You know, and you can say, well, I think that idea is stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that objectively, you know, you're on the wrong path or anything else. You're on exactly the path you're supposed to be on.
Yeah, period. Like you like extreme nacho flavored Doritos, and I accept you're a heathen because it's all about Cool Ranch.
But I do objectively disagree that you can improve at being God. Just a fact.
And we have a super chat from Dorian1221. And he gives us a sticker that just says hype. Thank you, Dorian.
Thank you, Dorian. I like that little, what is it, like there's like a hippo.
Yeah, some type of hippo. I don't know what some of these emojis are supposed to be, dude. So I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was a good spot to wrap on.
Yeah, I just want to answer one quick question. It's a quick one. Yeah. John Stone asks, which writings go into detail about these topics? I don't think I've... Honestly, I tell people this all the time. I've never read any of this shit. The only teacher, and I hesitate to say teacher, would be Alan Watts that I really would consider. And Alan Watts wasn't really a teacher. Was more like... a
revealer.
More like I had a tangled web in front of me of things that I knew, but I didn't know how it went together. And it was just like, hey, just pull this thread a little bit. Oh, interesting. And Alan Watts pretty much, even when he comes out and says you're the universe, he doesn't say it like, you know, like, here's the dogma. It's just like, didn't you know, fool? You're the universe. You're God already. Didn't you know? It's just so, it's so simple. I'm
sorry, you go.
No, that's fair. I was pretty much done. I mean, Alan Watts was it for me.
I feel like there's a real fine line between, you know, the Alan Watts of, if you tug at this part of the spider's web, everything will make sense and everything is interconnected. And then on the other side of that line, there's the fucking Charlie Day screaming at the red yarn attached to multiple fucking newspaper prints. It's not dualism. It's all the way down. It's not dualism, non-dualism, not dualism.
I think I'm more like Charlie Day tonight than fucking Alan Watts. That's for sure. definitely more like Charlie Day than Alan Watts tonight. Yeah, I mean, Alan Watts is like, you know, he's the lazy Zen skillful teacher that doesn't tell you, he just guides you through all these mystical weird ideas, and at the end of it you just kind of go, wait a minute. and the thing about Alan Watts was that I just kind of every time he spoke, I'm like, that's something I thought of before. That's interesting. Oh, you mean it's okay to think that? Because I would think when I was a really little kid, I had this conundrum one night because I was kind of leaving my Christian roots a little bit. And I was sort of battling with an atheist question. And I asked myself, okay, what if there is no God? What does that mean? Then it occurred to me, if there is no God, then I must be God. And my logic was, if there's no God above me, then what is above me? What could be God? Like, what in my life is God if not God? Well, me. Nothing else has the power over me that I have over me. So I must be. And I said, does that mean I'm God? If there is no God, then I am God. And that means there is a God. So what does that mean? Right? So I had some of these thoughts when I was a really little kid, and they fucked with me, but I didn't know it was okay to think them because I was like trapped in like in a Christian mindset. And Alan Watts was kind of like a permission slip from the universe that it's okay to think you're God, so long as it's not in an egoistic way. D.H. Thorne is not God. D.H. Thorne is the finger of God. D.H. Thorne is an avatar of God. Joffrey is an avatar of God. Fleshy is an avatar of God. But we're all God.
All right, so I've been quietly chomping at the bit. You ready for story time?
Yes, story me up.
All right, cool.
I mean, make April make the women speak because they've been very quiet.
So, I believe when you were saying Jay earlier, so I did decide to read this one. It was down to 2, and I realized the other one, I never actually asked them if they wanted it anonymous or credited. So, our special storyteller tonight is Jacques.
Ah, Mr. Jacques. I like Jacques.
Yeah, and he did give me permission to credit him for this.
Okay.
So, from Jacques. A few days ago, I just felt the pull to get to know Asmodeus. I've never worked with him before, but in the back door of ambiance of my subconscious, there was this magical tingling deep in my balls, yelling out, Jacques, it is time. You guys know how it is.
He's a bit of a troll. He is. That's why I love him though, because it's like he'll be like, "I'm autistic," and it's like, I may be true. I don't know.
I wouldn't say troll so much as shit poster.
Yes. He's actually pretty damn brilliant. If you talk to him, he actually knows a lot of shit.
And to be clear, I don't mean that with any backhandedness. I say that as a term of endearment. There are bad shit posters, but
no, I mean, we had like at one point we were like, okay, just so people don't think we're not being, people, they might think we're being unironic here. Let's make sure that we tone down just one or two little details, but otherwise, yes, all fun and games. It's all fine.
So, it was yelling out, Jacques, it is time. You guys know how it is. So I put on my big boy artistic pants and chicken scratched the shit out of his sigil on a piece of paper. As I already had my pants on, I figured I might as well go outside and meditate whilst walking. I start walking, chanting Asmodeus in my mind as I come across an enclosure with sheep inside. Starved for attention as I am, I decided that sheep would be both the perfect laboratory animal and an audience. Another thing I'd like to point out for those of you who don't know is that Asmodeus has 3 heads, one of which is a ram. I stop to gaze at the sheep via the sigil, which I hold in my hand, arms stretched out, still chanting Asmodeus. They are all standing and eating peacefully out of the same barrel. Suddenly something just fucking spooks them and the damned barrel explodes as they vehemently pull all their heads out simultaneously in a satanic panic. They all scatter off in their separate individual directions, feeling bad about sabotaging their receptacle of slop. I reach out my hand, holding the paper sigil as if to feed them. 3 of the sheep lock eyes with me and start approaching me from different directions. 10, 12, and 2 o'clock approaching. The organized choreography of it was fucking insane. The trio comes up in front of the sigil. They stop and stare at me. An eerie, energized calm washed over me, and a voice saying, I am here, my son, thunders in my head. Then a picture of my childhood unfurls before me. Now, a little Jacques' origin story. When I was a wee lad, I always drew little demons of all shapes and sizes because they looked so fucking rad. I started doing this when I was 7 or 8, I reckon. For this, my fundamentalist stepfather whooped my mischievous ass all over town. Anyways, so now I see my fucking painting from when I was a kid. It unveils before my eyes as if I was sitting right there on the floor, crayons in hand, spaghetti in pockets. I now understand that this particular demon was Asmodeus, and he's been in contact with me ever since my early childhood. With a spring in my step, I start walking away, all stoked, like a little boy who just found his first pornographic magazine. I walked into the forest, strolling on a jogger's trail and thinking to myself, so Dewey, Prince of Lust, what could you do for me?
Dewey.
Mostly in light jest.
He calls Asmodeus Dewey.
This was mostly in light jest, because I'm still so energized from before. What happens next is even more nuts. I fucking swear to you, a girl I've seen around town before, whom I found very cute, just walks by me. Now let me remind you that I'm literally in a fucking forest with no other people around. She's down at her phone listening to a podcast. As she saunters by, I hear this from her phone. A successful romantic relationship. Yet again, a voice thunders in my mind. If you want her, she's yours. I just stood there like a deer in the headlights, so shocked that I didn't even say, hi, to her. I continued to stand there, frozen, like Elsa in Frozen. Did she do this? I didn't see that movie. After a while, I came to my senses, and with a big smile on my face, I walked home to thank Asmodeus by offering a special blend of incense recommended to be my close friend. That whole evening continued to feel surreal to me, like a lucid dream. Thank you, great King Asmodeus.
You know, CM Heldenakainen said it perfectly. He says he's like the literal walking meme of, you need to have a high IQ to enjoy Rick and Morty. He really is. I fucking love this guy because he can't not like shitpost even when he's being serious. I love it. So you know how I like rate a story on the I believe it or I don't believe it scale? I'm gonna say it rings completely true. With embellishment, of course.
Every good story has embellishment.
I believe that the if it didn't happen, it's exactly like what would happen. You know, that moment of, especially with the sheep all circling around, you know, I mean, sheep do that, but the way it happened, and then you hear in your head, I am here, that, not every time, but that's exactly like the kind of stuff that happens when you make contact. It's like that. It's like these weird little moments, and it's like your own brain did it, but you feel something. Like you feel it's more than that. It's just, you feel the wave of like, this is real coming over you.
Yeah, it's when you get the fucking 1x4 Tetris piece and it just clears fucking lines and just
right.
Whoa.
Right. And I mean I want to know, did he land the girl, or was it just some hot air and he just kind of went home and did he just end up with one of the sheep in his bed? That's what I want.
That might need to be the first story follow-up.
I think he is from one of the sheep fucking territories. So I don't know for sure. I mean that with love, Jackass. If you can't laugh, we know Jackass can laugh at that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That I think that sounds exactly like the kind of thing Asmodeus would do. I kind of wish Eddie was here because he's got a bit of a relationship with that entity as well. The couple of times that I've worked with him directly and spoke to him, were very much like that. Not to get too personal, but I've got my idol for him, and sometimes when I put it on my altar, we'll just say that the person in the lower right-hand quadrant of your screen right now, and I have better times, magnified quite a bit sometimes when I've made offerings to that spirit. So there's definitely some tongue-in-cheek energy coming out of that spirit for sure. Maybe not to the level Jackass put in there, but definitely that lusty energy is absolutely true. So I believe it, and CM actually agrees. He says, yeah, felt authentic as fuck listening to it. Haha. I think it was an authentic story. If it didn't happen, then that's exactly like what I would expect for a story like that. So well done, Jackass. Well done.
It's a good thing that's his name. That for anybody
Dan R
who's just
says he brought
popping
the
in,
sheep.
that would sound so fucking backhanded.
It really would.
Good job, Jackass.
Good job, Jackass. Dan R said he brought the sheep home. I think he did. I think he must have.
Sheep can be a term of endearment for a lover, if you're in Wales.
Yeah, I think it could be. Yeah, I like that story. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. The insertion of a little bit of comedy. You know how, like we said, like you can tell when something's too well written. If I had saw that online, I think I would. If I didn't know it was from him, I think I still would have believed it, or at least said it was high probability. Even though there was comedy involved, the thing that was this is what happened was rational. And it wasn't like this big build-up story with, and then I found out a week later that Asmodeus lived here once. You know, it didn't have the 3-part story plot line thing going along with it. It was just, this is something that happened. It sounded like I went to the store and I ran into my friend, which is why it sounds believable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's I do really appreciate the inclusion of humor too, especially oh my God, my speech, especially the spaghetti.
Well, when it started off with I felt the tingling in my balls, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Dude, you're in your server, right? I think that's fair to say. If I didn't tell you who wrote it, you would know it was Jacques.
I probably would have figured it out pretty quick. I think I would have figured it out pretty quick, yeah.
Like, it is so, I don't know of anybody else but Jacques that story could happen to as written.
He needs a theme song for the server. I feel like we need to give him like one of those playful little, almost like the almost like that, but like just not.
Mr. Jackass.
Yeah, something like that.
Meme, the funniest shit that I've ever seen.
Yes. That's it. You just won the night. You just won the night.
Bow?
We'll send you a trophy.
You just did it.
Fucking.
All right. Do we have any other stories or any other arguments or any other people who want to agree or disagree? Who wants to talk?
Actually, yes. And Wyatt was very good with prompting me. We actually have a question from the man himself as well. Wyatt Coverdale asks, in science class, we did a thing where we had to guess what was in a container by shaking it and forming a hypothesis. Do you think that magic can relate to that example, being unpredictable?
I think one of the mistakes people make is to treat magic scientifically. Too far. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't test it. I'm not saying you shouldn't work with it. I'm not saying you shouldn't, figure out what works for you necessarily. So on some level, yes. You should be shaking it and seeing what happens, and definitely. I mean, I would be lying if I said that's not how I did it. So, absolutely, to a degree. But I would also caution against treating it like a scientific method. Only because magic is not technology and it is not a force of the universe. It is an art form that reveals to you what you are. So it's a little bit different. It reveals itself to you. It reveals to you what you are. Yeah. So I wouldn't treat it too much like a technology. I wouldn't treat it too much like you're trying to figure it out, which is kind of strange because that's what I've done, right? I think I've kind of done that. But I'm going to say that you don't need to know anything, right? There's no mechanical advantage to knowing it. I've had just as much, if not more, success in ignorance than I've had in knowledge with magic. That's a great truth. I have found so many people that when I question them, will admit that their first couple of dabblings with magic were probably the most powerful ones that they've ever had. It's almost like you get the big show in the beginning and then it tapers off as you do it. Interestingly enough, that's not a rule. It's a thing that's commonly reported. You'll do a ritual. Yeah, Fleshy.
It's weird how much commonality that has. I don't know if it's just, your higher self going like, oh, I got you hooked now. Now come on, chase the dragon. Chase the dragon.
It could be, yeah. Because I mean, I believe that magic it's an enlightenment ontology, ultimately. It is a practice which teaches you that you're God. By hook or by crook, by miracle by miracle, synchronicity by synchronicity. You know what the problem with it is? Unlike a lot of these other traditions, which lead you to the water and expect you to drink, you know, like I was just talking over with Astarte, like none of those processes actually awaken you, but they are valid ways to get there. Magic doesn't awaken you, but it gives you experiences that make you confront yourself. And a lot of people, it is a harder path if that's the only thing you're doing. Magic works really well when it is done supplementing these other things. You know, it's kind of like if you are God, maybe there's some clue beyond just drop some acid and realize that who you think you are is not real. That's important. That's a big step. But you probably also want to confirm it somehow by playing with your reality in some kind of way. And that doesn't mean that you can change reality, but it means that you feel like there should be, if I am divinity itself, then there should be something more than just, I'm not saying that you need that, because that's not how it worked for me. I was actually already comfortable with my sense of divinity to the point where I didn't even talk about it much. You can ask my wife. I had this experience long before I started doing what I'm doing with this channel in 2018 or so. I woke up to these things long before that. I didn't even get into magic again until 2018. So like 2014, 2013, 2015, 2016, something like that. Somewhere in that period is when I had my awakening experience. And I didn't run up to my wife and go, I just realized I'm God. Never happened.
Nope.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you were doing like a political commentary thing on YouTube before doing
that
this.
Was the purpose of this channel originally.
Yeah, that is the
and
same channel. You renamed it and I think deleted the old stuff or made it private, right?
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 things I mostly deleted it all. Yep.
Dude, I just had the thought, what if you have some like people who've been away from YouTube for a long time
that
who
happened.
Subscribed to you back then?
That happened.
It's like, what the fuck?
That actually happened. No, that's true. I had about 200 or 300 subscribers when I stopped really playing with it. I had made a couple of videos. One went viral. Well, not really viral. Viral for a low guy. It had like 30,000 views in like a week or something, like 3,000. It was something big like that. I did some commentary about Mass Effect Andromeda. And somehow it hit big, like with somebody. And I got a bunch of views for it. I forget exactly how many. That video has been taken down a long time ago. And I built up a bunch of subscribers like in a couple of months for it pretty quickly. And then I stopped doing everything. I maybe put up like here and there just a few jokes and stuff. And then, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years later, like my channel started in 2014. And I could probably find the videos if I look right now. Let me actually see if I go to my old videos. There was a video that I did when I was having my awakening experience, when it started happening. And is there a way to reverse this? Yeah, let me see. Let's reverse the date. I bet you it's not here anymore.
Oh, you did one way back then about infinite universes.
That was I don't remember if that was, I think that, yeah, that was shit. Yeah, what is quantum immortality? I hadn't quite had, I think I was approaching that level of awakening at that point, but I wasn't quite there yet. It was very close. It was very close. So in early 2018, I did a video that was a spiritual video. It was, it might have been 2016, 2017, 2018, like my awakening was happening. I wish I could put an exact year on it. I can't. I just know it was somewhere in the middle of the summer. And synchronicity was 2017, so I was getting there. Definitely getting there. It had to have been like 2014, 2016, something like that. I think it was 2016. If I had to like just put $100 on a date, it would be the summer of 2016 or 2017. You know, that's when I had the experience. So it was about 2 years before I started, I started making the occasional spooky woo video, which you remember, sweetie. I started making a few of those videos, like, but they weren't, I hadn't quite gotten there yet. And something 2018, when I decided to just play with magic again as a kind of a mysterious art form, right? I wanted to do a ritual. I've said this story a million times. I was sitting there at work one day, bored out of my mind, doodling and drawing, and I was starting to I was going to write a story that had to do with magic and stuff, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I decided to look up real magic. I was like, I wonder what do rituals look like these days in the modern era of the internet? Because I've never seen somebody besides my own really doing a full ritual. So I started Googling on YouTube, real ritual, real this, real that, real, and eventually somehow it's just real satanic ritual. And an EA Coetting video popped up. And I saw this shirtless dude looking and I love you, EA, but you look like a dude who should have been in, what was that show with the bikers, honey, that you were watching at the time?
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, he looked like he was a renegade from Sons of Anarchy, but a little not. And I'm watching this, I'm let me watch this shit.
All love to you, EA.
Yeah.
I like you a lot better with the long hair. Oh, for sure. Let me rephrase that. I think you rock the long hair a lot better. It looks good on you. You love him a long time now, and you know it. Another thing, he wasn't even the first one I started watching. It was actually a person I won't name because we had a falling out, and he's a bit of a douche. But I loved him like a brother for a little bit, but he ended up being a douche. But I was watching him because he had videos about the Necronomicon. I was like, well, that's cool. That was my first book. That's pretty cool. The first book that I read on magic. And I didn't even read it all the way through. I read the beginning. I put some of it into practice like an idiot. So that's sort of, and I started looking up real live ritual. And I saw an EA Coetting video, and he was topless, and he was doing this ritual. I'm like, holy shit, I recognize that feeling that he's acting like he's having. I don't know if he's faking it or not, but it doesn't feel like it, because that's what it felt like when I would do rituals. I looked like that. I felt like that. I had this feeling, and I was like, I've had my non-dual awakening a little bit. I realized that I am divinity and all this, and I kind of miss that. I kind of want to play with it again. And earlier that day, I was listening to Alan Watson. It was one of his lectures, and I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, you've got to, you may think that all of these religions, I'm paraphrasing badly, you may think that all these religions are nonsense and bullshit. You may be a totally rational person, but you owe it to yourself to go into these temples and light some incense and say the prayers and let them pray over you and let the magic rituals happen, kind of thing, and really experience that the flair and the show, because there's something to it. It may not be literal magic, but there's something magical to it. So that was bouncing around in my head while I was watching this, and I guess just on the whim, I was like, fuck it, and I ordered a book from Become a Living God, with the full intention of, I am going to put this into practice with all of my adult ability, because I want to test. I want to see if it's still fun to do. It was literally just going to be a lark. It was going to be for fun. It was going to be like a floor show. It was going to be like a stage performance. But I was going to pour into it everything that I knew, including the full emotional content, because I knew that I knew what I was now, and I knew that this may actually be possible. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of my rational skepticism is wrong. Maybe if I am divinity, like I'm realizing, that doesn't have to mean gods in heaven and demons in hell, but it could mean something. What does it mean then? I'm going to fuck with this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try the one that's least likely to be true, just because if I'm right, then it'll work. And if it's not real, then it won't work. It really won't work now. Right? It's like trying the hard mode first to prove that there is a game, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I did the rituals, and I poured a lot of, you can ask my wife, she was actually really excited. She's like, really? Because when we first met, I told you all about the stuff that I was into, I guess, right? I told you a lot about it when we first met. But I think I told it to you there's this horrible movie like Black Circle Boys, because it's a little too true to how I was as a teenager. Watch that movie, Black Circle Boys. It's a little too close to my real life, without being exact, because I believed it. I wasn't just a faker like he was in the movie.
But when I was telling her, it just felt icky. Like, I was like, that's not who I am anymore. And she started getting into it because she's like, oh, I want to do seances and I want to do this. I want to do magic. I want to go ghost hunting and all this stuff. And just a part of me was just like, no, this is bullshit. I'm not dragging her into that. I'm not getting her involved in this shadow people bullshit. I am not. And so I really...
Dude, you were right there. You had a partner that was into it. You're fucking nuts.
That's what she said. She was pretty disappointed. Yeah, I could tell, you know.
Shut down. I mean, I was soaring high and freaking hit me with a cruise missile.
Like, what do you mean you don't want to do black magic rituals naked in the woods? You were all into it a second ago.
I think also part of it is because you were getting lured into like the TikTok witch type of stuff before TikTok existed. Like that, that was the angle you were looking towards. And
at the time,
and I didn't have the patience to try to help with that, we'll say. And I didn't know better at the time either because I was so twisted up by everything I was going through, and I was slowly putting all of this stuff back. Like, I guess, I don't know if you could tell, honey, but I was pretty much losing that part of me when we were meeting.
Oh yeah, you know? No, I saw that. I saw that completely fade.
Yeah. And I went from a full believer into a hard skeptic, and you probably saw that whole thing. Now you saw me transform again. So when I tell people,
you know what it is too? You know what it is too? I remember when one of the first times that you, not one of the first times, but one of the times you told me about Ranzael, you said that when you met the one that was meant for you, he would fade away.
Yeah, it's true.
And, you know, like clockwork.
Yeah. Not only that, but it was, he would fade away. We would become one, is what it would be.
Yeah.
We'd become integrated. And I'll be damned. Like, that's why, and I wanted to talk more about my childhood prophecies and stuff, but we're not going to do that because we're running out of time. But all of those things that spirit told me pretty much came to pass, or are like 75% done, and there's still a little bit left. That's the worst part coming. So, it's pretty wild, isn't it? So, and now here I am. Another part of it was when the end times were here, quote unquote, magic would come back into the world, meaning those of us who would be sensitive to it would begin to realize and wake up to it. 2018 happens, I start waking up to it, and now the last couple of years are happening, and it's going to get worse. So, dude, yeah, it's all real. Like, every time I turn around, my old debunking self goes, no shit, ain't that a bitch? So, yeah, what can I say? You know, so I did the ritual and I got back into it, and I'll never go back. I'll never go back to being a hard skeptic the way I was. I'll always be a skeptic, but I'll never be that kind of skeptic that denies what's in front of them.
You're a soft skeptic now.
I guess. Fuck the labels. I'm just what I am. I'm skeptical about a lot of stuff. And I'm an opinionated asshole according to people who disagree with me, and I'm a sagely guru to the people who agree with me.
Well,
so
hey, hold on. Don't be so dismissive. I love you and I agree with you, and I still think you're an egotistical asshole.
Yes! That means I have achieved greatness. And, because the only thing that's like fucking Beavis and Butthead. The only thing cooler than guys who get chicks are guys who scare chicks. Well, I'm even cooler than that. I'm the guy who scares chicks and gets the chicks. I'm an asshole and people love me. I'm like Dennis Leary. You can't do any better. Fucking Dorian's crying. He's laughing his ass off. I see we got a super bean.
Yep, from Spirit X Diesel sends a flying pear emote.
Flying pear.
Thank you very much, Spirit.
That's actually actually, you know, that is DH Thorne circa 2013 colorized, because that's what I look like when I would leap through the air. That's pretty much exactly gut and everything, just
that's
exactly
DH demonstrating his Superman analogy. Or no, not your Superman analogy, but you know what I'm pointing at. Superman flying off a building to everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, and they fall to their death to everybody else. Yeah, yeah. Wyatt, I'm
mean
not
that as
really
dark as
full
it
of
ended up
myself.
being. Fucking, we started just before this stream with the fucking Norm Macdonald moth joke, and that was pretty dark, so we might as well wrap things kind of dark.
You know, Wyatt, someone said, one could say that if I didn't have this flaw of arrogance, I would just float away into infinity. I would be so perfect. I would just... It's my Persian flaw that keeps me grounded, is my total... Meanwhile, ask my wife, am I really that full of myself? I act like it a lot, but am I really? Not really.
No.
I question myself a lot more than people realize.
Well,
DH Thorne's a mask.
Absolutely. No question. People don't realize that. DH Thorne's such an asshole. I'm like, well, my mask's a bit of an asshole, and I'm a bit of an asshole too. I mean, as you know, you play what you know. But
I know right now you're just full of like protein and fats and no carbohydrates. I don't think you can really find yourself or be full of yourself until you get those carbs. That's where I live, baby.
Maybe. Considering you're like on a pure carb diet by comparison.
Speaking of carbs, I had fried cauliflower not long ago on a cheat day. I can't stand the taste of flour anymore.
No, heathens.
Oh, no, dude, really? No, for
like
real.
Cement.
If you give up carbs for like a couple of months to a year, forget it, if it's like 2 years like me, we had Taco Bell, and I took one wedge of a quesadilla as a cheat day. Ugh. One wedge. And I ate it. I'm like, this is good, but it's also disgusting.
Just
like
the bread,
the bread just tasted nasty to me. Like it was good, but gross. I can't explain it. It like I tasted the flour in it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because they fucked up the quesadilla. It was fine. It was that I literally taste food differently. Like diet drinks don't taste like diet to me anymore. Even with the aftertaste, I'm like, no, this still tastes pretty good. Yeah.
I understand, and I think you know where I'm coming from with this, because as somebody who went vegan, it's kind of like, hey, after you give up meat, it actually kind of becomes gross and you don't actually crave meat anymore.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, that's something that I live with. And it's like, to other people, it's like, I acknowledge what you're saying is true. However, I don't want to live that life. It's the same way of like, I acknowledge what you're saying is true, but at the same time, noodles. Also, I might actually just fade away if not for carbs. That's basically how I survive. It's like how I get all of my calories.
I know that, like, yeah, and when people are on a carby diet, they tend to crash more. When you're on a keto diet, you do crash. You still can, for sure, because I do. But it's much more of a slow crawl to a crash. It's not... You don't just suddenly go, blood sugar 0, dying, food now, die you, I kill you, eat you. It's way easier to just be like, I mean, I could eat, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm also, everybody's a little different. I mean, this we know. Some people's biochemistry is carnivorous. I know that if I don't eat some meat, I can be fine with that. Like, especially now that I found vegetable, like when you go on keto, vegetables taste better, by the way. Like that's just like you said, when you go off on a vegan diet, like you lose the taste for meat. I've realized that certain vegetables taste so much better now. And the ones I used to love aren't that important. Like corn, I miss it, but I'm fine without it. Give me cauliflower, give me fucking broccoli, give me all those things that people are like, that's like the not so flavorful ones. I'm like, no, they're really good now. Give me Brussels sprouts even. Didn't we have Brussels sprouts recently? And I was like, wait, these are Brussels sprouts?
We had like, that island poke place at the mall.
Yeah, something island bowl or something. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a poke bowl place. It was something else.
Well, technically they were poke bowls because that's what they called it.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so
that's bullshit. That's like Panda calling their lo mein chow mein. Yeah. The same fucking shit.
Oh, it was the little beet. The little beet.
That's what it was. Little beet. Yeah, little beet in the Roosevelt Field.
Bowls there. I mean,
Yeah, for those of you on Long Island, we are Long Islanders. We don't give out our info much, but sometimes we might even do a public meet somewhere out here one of these days. But yeah, so you give up certain things that the flavor really just you start to taste things you didn't taste before. So I totally like that's why like I never gave you a hard time, Fletch, because it's not like I can't imagine like why it might be fine. You do definitely change your tastes change when you change your diet. But going on keto, like it made me appreciate foods in a new way a lot. But my biology is definitely more in that, I guess, because I'm so Germanic according to my DNA thing. I'm supposed to eat a lot of dairy and meat, I guess. Like it's supposed to be a major quadrant of my diet. And you can ask my wife, the fucking dairy intake around here has gone through the roof. Like I'm suddenly like cheese is my snack and I have cottage cheese almost every meal. And, oh, it's good, especially with a little bit of mayo. I am a mayonnaise American, so.
I appreciate that you like it. Cottage cheese is one of my fucking kryptonites. I think that will be like one of the last things, one of the last foods I ever conquer and find a way to appreciate. I just
Can't imagine why.
Dude,
once again, we are very much alike.
Yeah, when I eat cottage cheese, the only thing I can imagine is just my non-dual perspective just suddenly flips into some fucking actress having to choke down fucking Ron Jeremy's musty old cum.
Well, it depends. Are you getting the really chunky stuff, or are you getting the pot stuff, or the really creamy stuff? Yeah.
Well, it depends on how much water he drank that day. Fucking God have mercy.
So CM is talking about steamed broccoli and cauliflower. You know what? We're actually evil fuckers. When we make cauliflower, there's ways to make it that like once you're on keto long enough, you can actually make it taste like fried rice for one thing. But we don't steam that shit anymore. Nope. No. Steaming
never came out good for us.
We olive oil it and butter it, and we put garlic salt on it. And we basically pan fry it until it's soft, until it becomes like mashed potato soft.
In fact, not long ago, I actually, because I was craving like the Mexican street corn, I did that with cauliflower and it came out really good.
Fucking Wyatt says to Fleshy, "How dare you? Cottage cheese is amazing."
I appreciate that that's everybody else's reality, but like I said, Ron Jeremy, man.
Well, hold on. Cameron's on your side. Cameron says cottage cheese is too close to rotten milk. What, sweetie?
More for you all if we don't eat it.
There's plenty of it out there, man. Like you said, it's basically close to rotten milk, so there's always going to be some.
I hate that stuff.
Wyatt also said that for him personally, 98% of his whole body mass is comprised of the chemicals within Coca-Cola.
Ooh, I've been there, dude. You need to get off that. Like, that's another thing, okay? You want to improve your health, right? I am living fucking proof. I actually have a right to speak on this because I went from 325 pounds and I just weighed myself today. What'd I say with 230?
31.
231.9, I guess. Yeah. So I lost 93 pounds so far. 93.
God damn.
Thanks to my friend. Thanks to my friend.
Over a year.
Like this was because somebody turned me onto a diet and now I get it, because now everything I knew already that failed me because I was a fat fuck before, that I tried all this other shit, when I plug it all into this, it's like amazing. So no, I'll give you everything you need to know. Number one, the center of the supermarket doesn't exist. Don't even go in there.
Chop around the edges.
That's true.
Just for the most part, the edges is all you need, with the exception of maybe tea and shit in the middle. That's it. So okay, the edges is number one. Number two, carbs are not good for you. Shut up, Flesh. Carbs were made for the working class. No, how do I put this? Carbs are the industrial.
Carbs carry a lot of energy for cheap.
For cheap, with no real, it's literally just calories, right? Without a lot of good stuff in it. So it's not really, it's better for subsistence diets than it is for actual hard living diets, we'll say, Number two, your body evolves mostly on something closer to keto, which would be that paleo kind of you know, you're eating meat and nuts and berries. Let's put it this way. If you're living even in Africa, you're not going to be eating berries most of the year. Like sweet stuff is not what you're going to be eating. You might get some tubers and roots, but there's going to be a lot of, you know, leafy stuff and a lot of meat and a lot of that stuff. Bugs, you're going to be eating a lot of fucking bugs. So that's what your metabolism is usually, with exceptions. So me, I'm a carnivore with, you know, green leafy stuff like that's and dairy. That's like what I'm into. But yeah, I think we can all agree, avoid the middle of the supermarket. Just don't go there. Soda is the devil. Like, I can yell at rice and beans and spaghettis and shit. They're like the devil's sidekick, but the devil is soda. Soda and all these sugary drinks, garbage. Like,
that's kind of a bad comparison because we're down with the devil here.
Oh, right, true, right. Sorry. Soda is like Yahweh, and these other carbs are like the angels. But yeah, no, for real. Like, just get rid of all soda. Now, you don't strike me as a heavy guy. When I saw your videos a while ago, you seem like a fairly thin young kid, so you're probably okay for now, but you're 14, you know.
Metabolism crashes very fast.
And it's not healthy to be skinny and eat like a pig either, by the way. Like, you're actually better off being a fat fuck that eats like a pig than a rail that can eat like a pig and not gain weight. That's a bad sign.
Causes heart problems.
Okay, well, I didn't expect to be fucking called out then. Thank you.
I'm choosing violence tonight, Fleshy. Deal with it.
I accept, only because I want to see where it goes.
No, I wasn't really targeting you, though. Damn it. Now I feel bad. Like you got some friendly fire on you.
Oh, no, yeah, I can take it.
Beans are still very heavy carbs, but they do have proteins in them and stuff, too. So yeah, they might be slow carbs, maybe, but it's still carbs as far as keto's concerned and Atkins. So stevia and monk fruit are great.
So out of curiosity, I know from hanging out with
fruit.
I know from hanging out with some of my pagan friends, there's this thing that they do called like the Grand Old Path or something like that, and a part of it is like, I want to say for 60 or 30 days, it's an extreme diet restriction where they progressively get down to more and more restrictions to where I want to say you don't have any carbs. It's basically a raw diet. And I've viewed something like that, just like we were talking earlier with the sigils in the stream, where it's the carrot at the end of the stick, but it's not actually necessary. Would you, to spin this into a magical talk, would there be any point to altering your diet? Could you use that magically, do you think, to fucking rewire your senses?
I mean, so long as you're not treating it like it's a machine. Well, I mean, actually, it's more mechanical than a sigil is. I mean, you could argue that. So, for example, if you fast for a while, fasting is one of the easier. Well, I shouldn't say easier. It's hard as fuck. But fasting is one of the simpler ways to achieve altered states of consciousness. Because if you fast for a while and then do some crazy ass fucking routine, you know, like a whirling dervish would do, you do like so. You'll have an out-of-body fucking experience or some shit. I promise you. You know, fasting is absolutely one of the easier, again, simpler, easy ways to
straightforward.
Right. I mean, you don't have to drop acid. You don't have to. You can actually have an ego death experience by fasting and meditating to exclusion to the point of collapse. Abso-fucking-lutely, without a question. Will it happen every time? No, it's not a guarantee, but it's one of the ways to do it. So fasting is a very common way of getting into a spiritual frame, because when you fast, you're actually doing keto for a little while, believe it or not. When you fast, your body runs out of blood sugar. You go through keto flu. That's why you feel like shit for the first day on a fast. But by the second or third day, you'll actually feel like you suddenly got more energy than you've ever had in your life. That's because your body's now switched over to a fat diet. It's eating all the fat in your body instead of the carbs. Like, so there's no more sugar in your body. There's no more glucose. So it's going after the fat, right? It's going after your fat stores. And there's endless fat stores unless you're a scrawny, emaciated, on the death's door type of person, which at that point it's going to eat the protein. So don't do that. But if you're a remotely healthy person, you can fast for quite a little while before it'll make you sick. So when you fast, your body switches over to fat. And by the way, I'm not a medical doctor, so take nothing I said literally. When you go over into this fasting metabolism, you'll feel energized and more focused than ever. And you will stay that way for quite a while. But you can totally crash because of it too. So there is a limit. Like, you know, if you don't put anything in, your body will be like, okay, fuck you. You know, eventually it's going to kick you in the balls. But fasting is a very effective. So that's one part of it. I would also agree that, you know, putting yourself into a certain frame of mind is possible with the kind of food you're eating. So let's say you're going for like a shamanistic, lycanthropic, you know, shape-shifting ritual. And you want to become like a werewolf, right? You want to become like a wolf. You want to have that wolf experience. Well, then you know what? Wolves don't eat grass, brother.
Yep.
So when I don't talk much about this side because for whatever reason, it's like, I feel like you're not supposed to talk about vampires and werewolves together or else you're like a poser. Like you can't be both, right? And I emphasize, but we definitely did shape-shifting stuff when I was younger. It wasn't really, it was more like we would get worked up into, which is probably the more legitimate form of it, worked up into the feeling of I'm a beast, I'm a wolf, I'm a carnivore, I'm a tiger, I'm a whatever.
You did the berserker mode. Basically,
and we would have a bonfire, we'd party, we'd fucking thrash around it, listen to metal, we'd grab a fucking, literally get a raw ass steak and not cook it and just tear into it like we're fucking wild animals, cover ourselves in blood and just fucking, you know, and it was wild as fuck. Now, we didn't have what a shaman would experience. A shaman doing that is going to hit a point where they completely forget they're a human being. They might even be tripping balls on some heroic dose of mushrooms or some shit. And they're going to go completely into wolfland. But you want to have that experience, you probably need to drop some raw meat. You probably do. It wouldn't hurt, we'll say. I'm not saying you have to, but it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt. You want to connect with, you know, a spirit that's let's say you're trying to connect with Demeter, right? Or Ceres, if you're into the Roman version of everything. Get yourself some fucking barley, you know, and have a barley soup or something. And that was her symbol, was the grain of barley, right? So different foods actually do, can help, because if nothing else, they're culturally significant, if nothing else.
And if you want to connect with Dionysus, you fucking start subsiding on a wine diet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, that's why at some point we'll have to have Aaron back on, because he was going to talk about that. He mentioned it a little bit, but
wait, did he do that?
Well, I don't want to speak for him, but I believe he was saying that he is more interested in the Dionysian mystery schools than I'm more into the Eleusinian ones. But he liked the Dionysian one, and I think that's what he was saying. I'll have to ask him again. But that one of the things that he would not advocate, because we can't advocate anything, but he talked a lot about, at least to me privately, about it's not about getting shit-faced drunk and falling over. It's about achieving that buzz state, that early buzz state when you get the little numbness and you feel really good, and edging that like all the time, like edging that for like days, weeks, whatever, however long it takes, and that will give you hallucinatory and all kinds of experiences. So, you know, I don't know how true that is, but that's what he talks about, for sure.
You know, he was saying that he wanted to come on for the next meme review, which I figured that was going to be a one-off, but maybe just for him, we'll do another one.
Yeah, we could think about it. I know he wants to do more shows with us. We'll have to see. You know, getting other guests on, like, I'm going to be a little picky for a little while, just because it is more work to set it up. And not saying no. I just want to. Yeah, do us for a little while, just for a little while.
Yeah, with the way that you and I and the fucking API bullshit is working right now, guests.
I missed that API thing. I really wished it worked, because I love Streamlabs. I like it way better than regular OBS. It's got a lot more features. I like it, but neither one of them will work because I had to reinstall everything. And like you said, that the NDI API whatever doesn't work now. So But Sito asks, what about microdosing? I've never done it. I don't know. But I bet you some other people here could tell you.
Yeah, I've never personally done it. It's something that, you know, if I had easy availability to, then, you know, all other things considered, that would be something I'd be interested in. But I've heard really good things about just completely changing your perspective permanently for the better.
There's some things you can do, like Blue Lotus. You know, you can use Blue Lotus to achieve some effects. Blue Lotus, mugwort, you know, wormwood. You know, a little bit of mullein tea with some mugwort in it and some
Didn't
Blue
you
Lotus.
also use the Torah?
Oh, Damiana.
Oh, Damiana.
Damiana's a little
knew it
more
was our
aphrodisiacal, but it's definitely in the entheogenic direction.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, trances, Wyatt was saying, I don't understand why people need psychedelics. Psychedelics is a confirmation tool. It's really good either as the opening salvo or as a confirmation if you're not sure. I still someday intend to do, I don't know when, I think that plan's going to go on the back burner for a while. But there was a plan we had for a little while to do an ayahuasca trip, but I don't know if that's going to pan out anymore.
I may just be the fucking scout and just do it solo. Just come back like, okay, I thought my third eye was open before, but dude, I just found my third bunghole.
Yeah,
like,
right?
We gotta go, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, I'll just go, and like if people don't want to go with me, I'll just go by myself. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's, you know, to quote my mentor, Alan Watts again, Alan Watts said it's a little bit like, you know, anything else, you know, it's like, it's medicinal, not dietary. Same thing with meditation, to be honest with you. Meditation is medicinal, not dietary. It's something you do when you need it, but you don't do it for your whole life. You don't have to. You know, so I agree with everybody in the comments, like Astarte and Wyatt right now, that are saying trance is really, to be brutally honest with you, having an awakening through psychedelics is important potentially for people. And I'm not advocating anything, Miss Susan Wojcicki, so don't come after me. But it is said to be a validation tool. But it is not a replacement for the transcendental meditative styles, because those systems develop the psychic muscles, if you will, that you really need to develop. And there's that development thing. She's going to say, there it is. That's the development we're talking about. That's fine. But that's a different kind of development, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But that would be a development that would be better. I can't wait to see her comment. She'd be like, fuck you, Thorne. I told you I had a point. I will bend on that one. Sure. That's a skill. That's a different subject. But yes, developing that muscle is important for sure. And I think it's more important to do that than the psychedelic side, because the one, she's laughing now. The one is absolutely a valid door opener. The other is how you walk through it. Does that make sense? You know,
I want to point out, you certainly did have a good premonition of that. That's what the stream is about.
One might say that a true master does not predict, they cause. So yeah, you know,
It's like just turning to the fucking whiteboard next to her, just like, well, I'm gonna mark this one down as a win.
No, it's like now we're finding a common ground where development is true. Like I said earlier, you can develop a skill, you can't develop your divinity. Anyway, but true, yes. So doing these meditative practices, I will also tell you that I didn't achieve that awakening through the meditative practice. Just so you know. When people are like, Thorne, how did you do it? I don't think I did it at all on purpose. I was just ready to have it. Now, here's why, like all these other practices, doing meditation, doing magic, doing tantric, yoga, blah, 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 they don't cause awakening. What they do is it's like you're bringing two electrodes closer and closer together, and they increase the likelihood you'll just oh shit, really? That's all it's doing. You can't cause someone to awaken. There's no practice, there's no technique, there's no teaching, there's no book, there's no ritual that will wake you up. You will wake up when you're damn good and ready, and not before. So you can't force it. You can't cause it. You can't learn it. You can't acquire it. You can't do it on purpose. All you can do is put yourself into an awaiting position to receive the awakening experience. So even if you do drop a heroic dose, you're not going to just wake up and realize you're God necessarily. In fact, what's that girl's name that you were watching that they did too much DMT or something, and somebody slipped it to them, and she had this experience and didn't know what the hell to make of it until someone told her what it was, and then she's like, "Oh shit, really?" And now she's like,
YouTuber.
Yeah, and now she's like all enlightened because of it.
Yeah, no, she did salvia.
Salvia, okay.
Yeah, she did salvia with a bunch of friends.
By accident, no less. Like it wasn't like
it wasn't by accident.
I thought somebody added something to it. I thought.
No, it was totally
to it.
Intentional.
Oh, okay.
She said something to the extent of that she went and she didn't want the most powerful, but she didn't want the weakest shit either, so she went in like middle of the road. And they all smoked it up, and she said that like her body melted away and just total fucking ego death.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't know that's what it was.
It freaked her out. It was great.
She didn't know what it was, but it fucked her head up because she knew.
Talking to someone on the bus, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's ego death."
And that led her. So it wasn't the experience alone, by the way, is not enough for people who are going. So you're saying, Thorne, all I've got to do is have no, because this is why the ancient paths would tell you. Like, this is why there was an argument, I don't remember between who, but there was an argument, I guess just between traditions. One tradition says all you need is contemplative learning. The other one says you just need training. The other one says you just need yoga, blah, 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 blah. None of them by themselves, nor do all of them together, cause anything. But the more of them that you are capable of doing and practice and explore, the more likely you are, when you have that poof moment and your ego illusion is shut up for a minute, the more likely you are when you come back down to go, I know what that was, and be able to process it. And processing it is what the ego is going to do. The ego is going to take that experience so you drop the heroic dose, your ego shuts down, or you go into transcendental meditation and your ego shuts off, and you're just it for a while. And trust me, when you're doing transcendental meditation, it's not as vivid to me. And I mean, some people will be different, like they're doing the fasting and all the other shit. They have a vivid trip too, by the way, but it's not always vivid. You can have a complete ego death, but not have it be vivid. We did this on one of the most recent streams where I said, have you ever gone driving and just stopped thinking about shit and you're just driving? That's ego death. It's just a very little one. It's just the door open. You went, hey, I'm not paying attention to myself.
It's not the heroic dose of ego death, but it's like it's the fool's dose. It's the start of something.
It is. And the thing is, you don't put two and two together because ego death is often a non-associative state. It's literally what it is. It's a non-associative state. So if you're not associating intentionally, you don't commit to memory those things as readily. You still do, but if you want to remember something, you turn it into a mnemonic device, something with a song, try to relate it to yourself somehow. There's all different ways to commit to memory things. So when you're having an egoless experience, shall we say, a mindfulness moment, you don't necessarily remember it unless you train yourself to think about it, like to recognize it. When you realize that's what it is, you find it very easily. It's like I tell people, you're not your thoughts, you're the space between them. And people think, wow, that's such a deep thing to say, Thorne. What does it mean? Well, go look for those moments. And then once you find one, you'll realize they happen a lot more than you realize. And then you realize you don't have to think to be there anymore. You realize all these thoughts are just associations. Yes, Fleshy.
I'm going to make jokes. I want you to finish with your what you're saying.
I'm mostly done. I'm getting a sore throat. So ahead, make your joke.
With that voice that you use, you just manifested a universe in which Barney the dinosaur watches your show and seeks you for spiritual enlightenment, and I can only imagine what the fuck he brings back to teach the kids.
All right, CM Helnikainen's here still?
Yes, and he has a super chat, which I am going to get to right now. He
Give
says,
him a command. I want him to understand that what you just said must be made into a video. He has the skills. I need him to somehow do a mashup where Barney is one of my students and you and I are his guru. And I want him while we're, I love you, you love me, we're all the universe experiencing itself, doo 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 doo, and just have it happen. You missed the rhyme.
You could have said reality.
Oh, do it. How would it go? Say it. You say it, and I'll do it.
You love me, I love you. No, wait, just experiencing reality. That's what. However the fuck you set it up.
I love you, you love me. Something, something, something. Experiencing reality. La, 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 la. Anyway, and I just went off
he
into
says
Arnold
Barney
Schwarzenegger.
watches Elmo the dolphin.
Yes, he does. He does. He really does.
Imagine him bringing this back to teach the kids, just like, none of you are real. You're all illusions.
That's it
now
right
we're
there.
gonna learn about Lucifer.
That's it right there. Yes. Do it, CM. I need to see it. I need it. Make it happen.
Commission that video.
I'll pay him $5. I'll give him a $5 for that one. That's all I can afford right now because times are hard, motherfucker.
and speaking of a $5, he actually gave us one for a super chat.
We'll
Appreciate you, dude.
Thank you, CM.
Says, what are your thoughts on the Devil card? Any thoughts on how it influences the minor arcana? Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Appreciate you. And you know what? We talk about him a lot, so I'm just going to plug him because he was saying something earlier about jumping into another magical live stream and getting recognized there and complimented. And just, I think you said that it felt weird, or like, how the fuck did you guys even know who I was? Just like, get used to it, buddy. You're good.
Complicated question. Death card doesn't mean, although it can. It doesn't really mean that. Death card means
he said the devil, not death.
Death. Okay, yeah, okay, sorry, devil. Devil's a little tougher. Devil is temptation, but it's also entrapment, but it's not entrapment like in the little sense. If you look at the card for the devil, the people are wearing chains that aren't locked, or somehow they're not secured. The chains are on them, but they're open. Like they could get out anytime they want.
It's like those videos you'll see on Reddit or whatever of a dog who the leash is just set on something, but because the leash is there, they don't do anything. Right.
So it's another form of ignorance that mortality entails, because being mortal is the denial of being divine, right? And it's basically when you say I am, you're saying I am not. That's what you're really doing, because there's more that you're not than that you are. So you're really saying I am not. Like that's the bigger part of the story. So the devil card is a little bit like that, because the devil card is a form of ignorance where you feel trapped by something. Usually a temptation or a behavior that you could stop, but through ignorance or self-denial, shall we say, you don't do it. A good example would be like when people do the heroic dose, very often what happens is, let's say they have an alcoholism problem. Clinically and statistically, it's been shown that people who do a heroic dose will often recover from that ism, right? Not always, not like clockwork, it's not a cure, but very often that ego death experience will be like, why am I doing this to myself? And if they do continue doing it, it's no longer destructive to their life somehow. They integrate that fucker, right? Not always, but a lot of the times. Again, not a rule, not a cure, just it's a weird thing that seems to happen a lot. What I'm saying is that the devil works because you don't realize your power. You're able to escape the clutches of whatever this attachment is. The devil card is really about attachment, period. Bingo. That's it. Devil card is attachment personified in a card. So let's say you want to curse somebody with that card. You hit somebody with the devil card, you're cursing them to become more and more victimized by that attachment. In other words, they're more likely to feel attached, and that attachment will make them feel victimized, and it'll just snowball and just be much, much worse. If you want to cure somebody with it, on the other hand, you might say start with the devil card on the left if you work left to right. So you start with the devil card there, and then you might want to do a card that represents like splitting up division. So you could do death. So devil, death, and then the outcome you'd prefer. So devil, death, strength. Devil, death. Strength's a great card, by the way, because if you look at the strength card, it's literally, it's not strength like look how powerful I am. It's literally like a girl petting a lion. Like that's real strength. It's gentle. So that's actually in a lot of ways opposite that devil card, because it's like you have power over something, but you don't exert it, right? It's literally letting go, and now it's strong because of it. So devil, death, strength would be a great transition away from that devil, or devil, death, chariot maybe, or devil, death, world, or devil, death, star, or something like that would be really good ways to transmute it. So when it comes to the minors, it doesn't really directly correlate because it's not one of the first 10. So the first 10 cards of the majors and the first 10 of the minors, they correlate directly. The devil is more like a special card, right? It doesn't really, maybe it does, but I don't know how. Like I've never done that deeper research. Maybe cards, 11 through 20, whatever, those equal 1 through 10 again, and I don't think so though. I think it's on its own that way. I could be wrong. Maybe someone who really knows the tarot better than me can tell you. So that's my answer for our fiber.
Yeah, I wish I could add more to that, but I think I'd just be reiterating and giving a lesser version. So I fucking hate to say this, but I'm sure you could tell as much as I've been yawning.
No, we're gonna keep going.
I think we should.
Days.
I don't know if you guys need to, but I feel like I should fucking...
No, we're doing a fundraiser. You have to stay here till we reach $300 in tips.
All right, but I'm not gonna be conscious for it.
They might pay more for that.
Oh, why did I get the fucking chair that has the lean back feature? Damn it.
No, I agree with you, dude. Let's wrap it up. I can tell my wife has been talking so much that I'm just I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm sorry if I talked over you, sweetie, but
Oh, you're fine.
You married a douche over here. I don't know what to say.
Hey, I'm a person of few words, okay?
Yeah.
That is like a bold. Okay, Fleshy. You shut up. Fleshy, fact check that shit. Is she a person of few words, and am I usually a person of many words? Isn't it almost always, when we play games, isn't it always, I'm quiet as shit, and she's a motor mouth the whole time we're playing? You and her both together, honestly. You guys talk like crazy when we're playing. I'm like just focused on the mission. I'm like, we need to get that thing.
That's a little different.
Oh, that's different. Someone get the Friday meme with the dude.
I'll say that in games, you tend to be quieter and objective focused, but at the same time, I feel like you are both very talkative, just in different areas and in different ways. I feel like that's such a fucking non-committed answer.
That
but
really
it's
was.
True.
We gotta fix you, dude. You're such a Gemini sometimes, I swear.
What can I say? My Gemini is in Capricorn, or something star chart.
Yeah, well, my Aries is in Scorpio, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so yeah, I think we should. I'm just skimming the last chats here. I see a death head. Someone's like making fun of it. I'm just kidding. I think we're gonna. White's talking about how his air smells. I think he needs some Febreze in his temple. Yeah. A little bit of what Astarte said is very good about the astral. It's absolutely, of course, the astral. We have to remember the astral and material are one. Don't think the astral and material are separated. Recognize that they are one. They are both illusions. Neither one is the real world, nor is combining the two together the real world. But they both point at the real world equally. So they are both a valid way to experience reality when taken in their rightful place. You know, the astral world is often a shadowy mirror of the material world, and vice versa. They definitely go hand in hand, but neither one of them is the real world. I know that that's a bit of a different stretch than some people are used to hearing. People will say the astral's the real world, the material's fake. No. It's actually both are illusory, because they both have the same imagery. They just put it in different ways. So what you see, what you feel, what you smell, what you taste, what you sense, what you think, imagine, etc., none of that is real. They all point to what is real. When you recognize that little detail, all of a sudden a whole bunch of shit's going to get out of your way, and you're going to realize you don't have to literally see a spirit to interact with it. Not necessary. You can completely sense its presence and know that it's with you no matter where you are, because they're not local spirits. They don't exist in a place, but they can become associated with a place. Right? Does that make sense? So, yeah. Sido saying he's not trying to experience the real world. I'm just trying to astral party. Hey, you don't need, just do it. Just imagine us all there and just keep doing it until it connects. And what you connect with will be a shadow reflection of the true thing. That doesn't mean we'll be aware of it, by the way. So just be aware of that. But yeah, yes, CM Hilnakainen definitely related to Plato's forms, but I don't think Plato went far enough. I think Plato stopped at the ideal. He didn't realize that the ideal was also a reference to something that is intangible, enigmatic, unknowable. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm just misreading him, but that's my touch on Plato. All right, so Fleshy, walk us through the exit.
Yeah, and actually, just real quick before that, because you mentioned shadowy reflection, I fucking looked into your mirror the other day, Kamila, and I just fucking, like, I swear the eyes that were looking at me weren't my own. It was just a completely different dude. I'm just like, I'm just gonna cover that up. I don't have the headspace to deal with that right now. I'll come back to that later.
Just relax. It's the Troxler effect. Dude, just lean into it, spread the cheeks, and let it happen.
Yeah, you see, I started to, it's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And I am not in the right state of mind for this. I'm just going to tell you what, you call back and you give me an appointment and I will meet with you. But right now, the book's pretty full and there's a lot of shit going on. So just talk to the secretary.
You were on the verge of one hell of an experience, man. I hope you go back to that mirror and try it again soon.
Yeah, but the experience needs to fucking get with my dossier.
It's not that bad, dude. Well, I mean, don't do it right before bed. That's like, uh-oh.
Oh, hey, guess when it happened?
Right before bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get that.
Well, I'm just gonna lay down and settle in with these thoughts now. Okay.
Especially because a lot of the times that'll start out and it'll be a creepy face and feeling that starts it too. So. Mm-hmm. You'll be like, is there someone in here now? Oh, fuck, Thorne, what the hell did you get me into, you bastard?
That's what I was fucking saying at the beginning when I was like, hey, so I think I might actually try this out. You're like, I knew you'd come around.
Now I know how all of you guys must feel when you turn one of us into your Rainbow Coalition type people. Come on, I had to say something objectionable as a joke. It's a joke, everybody, relax.
No, yeah, anybody who doesn't think that's a joke, that's a fucking joke approved by the fucking man of the audience, of the stream.
Of the streamians.
No,
you're the streamians.
It's not so much that. The feeling is more like, oh good, a new hole. We are united by butthole. Butthole has no gender.
He speaks the truth. I mean, I'm not into it, but I can't deny it. It's like, you know.
I almost thought that you all would see Thorne speechless.
No, never. I mean, it happens, but it's, you know. What did I say? Oh, we have to coin a new term. It's called a fateau instead of a plateau.
Yes.
So like when you're trying to lose weight and you can't because you're like stuck on whatever reason, you call it a fateau. Or like when you reach a new fateau because you got that much fatter, you call it fateau. Okay, anyway, on that note, let's give them a goodbye. So for those of you who love our weird ass selves that we've got going on here. This is us being goofy, but obviously I'm filled with a bunch of bullshit that gets people really excited for spiritual stuff. Fleshy is an awesome person. If you want to hang out with us more, we haven't plugged our Discord in a while, but we do have a Discord group, which is where we hang out the most. We get up to a lot of crazy shit, a lot of antics, politics, goofy, good shit, bad shit, everything in the middle. You can easily find that if you click the link that's pinned in the chat or in the description of this video. And one of the links is to the Discord channel. If you're new here, feel free to join us there. You do have to be 18 plus. We require that you answer the questions, Claire. We don't like it when people just join and expect to just be included in all the reindeer games, because there are haters that just want to infiltrate. So we want to know that you're a person and that you've got views that aren't like dumb and, you know, extremist things we don't like. So if you're, you know, you can think whatever you want, but please be respectful is what we're saying.
For anybody who thinks that the intro, like the introduction, and yes, I agree with the rules and everything, is superfluous, you might be right on a certain level, but also I can confirm, coming from this side of the fence, it keeps out a lot of trolls, like more than you might expect. Like, it's there for a reason. So humor us, if nothing else, please. And for everybody who's already in there and everybody who has, thank you, and I appreciate you and love hanging out with you motherfuckers in there.
And also, one more thing about all that too. Anybody that technically kind of joined but didn't actually get into the server itself because they didn't answer the questions, if you were there and didn't answer the questions and haven't been on since, we did have a bot remove a bunch of people.
And people who were full members but were inactive. So if you weren't active for 30 days, you got booted no matter what. So if you're on that server, at least check in once a month and you'll be fine. You won't ever get kicked out. Just look at the server and scroll through it. That's all. But we do get up to some fun stuff. We haven't done a movie or game night in a while. We should do one of those soon.
I was just going to bring that up. Wyatt was mentioning earlier. I want to do another fucking Jackbox stream. That was so much fun.
Those are fun, yeah.
I completely forgot. I wonder if he's even still listening anymore. We fucking good-naturedly, obviously, but we poked a lot of fun at EA co-editing in the Jackbox stream we did, and even more at you. No, it was a free-for-all. All the somewhat famous people got a fucking slam. It was great. Oh yeah, the funny thing is that we were pulling punches, but it probably didn't seem like it.
Oh, that's good shit. I mean, a movie night would be fun. We haven't done a movie night in a while. I'm kind of leaning movie night first. Something just slide back into it with the movie night before we hit the games. Yeah, we need to do that. Not this weekend, but next weekend. Let's pencil that in. Pencil with very soft pencil. We'll have to see. I'm fine with at least putting it on the pencil. We have to see if we have anything coming up, because we're going to be running out of time soon with the holidays coming up. So every weekend we're starting to count down. So we've only got like 2 months, but that only means like 5-6 weekends, 8 weekends.
And we also have an anniversary coming up. Yay!
Yep, we got that, and hell, we got Dune coming out in a couple of weeks, and all this shit. So I mean, there's going to be a lot that's going to be.
Or as Siege pointed out, Star Wars for people who listen to Tool.
Right? True. So the Discord's a great way, and if you want to support us financially and Super Chats isn't your thing, you can check out my Patreon, of course, and there is a training class that comes with that. It is more of the same, but it's less goofy. It's a lot of lecturing and a lot of me telling you shit that you probably don't need to hear endlessly, but some people get a lot out of it, and I'm really thankful for them. I've also got 3 books that are out currently and 1 in the works. Fleshy's holding up all of them. Buy the books. Buy the merch. It's good shit. I fucking love it. This has got to be the Watcher watching me as I watch the not me and the Big Brother back there. Just do the Megadeth thing. Be like, "Hello, me. It's me again," and just have fun with that.
Oh,
holy shit, that's a reference.
Actually, it's a reference that's
real
triggering.
Quick, also, Fleshy, there was also a little stand in the box too.
Yeah, I got it. It's actually been like staring at me from the corner of my mouse pad this whole time.
So join us in Discord. If you want to support us, Patreon's a good way. I got the training classes there. If you want to buy my books, go ahead. Teespring, I just updated with a new shirt design, which is the Legion eye. It says "Mind the Shadows" under it. Looks pretty good. I got both, I believe both male and female, and I've got tank toppies for Fleshy. I tried the tank top. I hate it. It doesn't fit me right. It's like too loose. Like it doesn't. It's not the. I like this kind. I like the fitted kind that looks like, you know, like I like feeling more like the other one's not fitted. I like fitted shirts. I have to say. As a fat guy, I like fitted shirts. Amazing, huh? Or formerly fat. I guess I'm just chunky now. But yeah, so we got new stuff on the Teespring. So go check out the Teespring store if you want shirts, you want tapestries like this. All that shit's a good way. But yeah, I guess that's where we're gonna. I can't think of anything else that I saw. Oh, Etsy, Sweeney, tell me we're gonna have more products on Etsy soon.
Soon. I don't get out there as much as I'd like to, but I have a bunch of stuff I have almost ready to go up.
Yeah.
By the beginning of October, I'm hoping to have a slew of stuff go up.
Yeah, and I'll be putting for those of you who didn't hear earlier, check out the first link in the Linktree link that if you want to sign up for the email notifications, because when we come out with new stuff, you can find out pretty much right away through email. We got close to 150 signed up. I want to see if we can get 300 by Christmas time. That'd be really cool. It'd be a good Christmas present for me. It helps me to know how many people are actually watching the show, because you can't really go by views because people tune in and out 5 or 6 times and it adds views. And I really want to get an idea. And it also, the reason I really did it though, is because Facebook and YouTube are really shitty about notifying people of when I put stuff up. You know, and if you sign up for those emails, you're more likely to get it all until you turn it off. So, you know, once a week, I put out a content digest that tells you what I put out this week. And about once a month, we put out a content email that has stuff in it that you can use. I don't know what's going to be in it every month because it's by submission. Sometimes there might be rituals put in there. Sometimes it might be stories. Sometimes it might be, you know, stuff that teaches you, but it's all for free. Really good program. I'm really enjoying it. And if you want to write for it, you just got to email me with your submission that you want to give me, 500 to 1,000 words, and I'll consider it and get back to you. So, all right, guys, unless there's anything else, what do we say, everybody?
Mind
corny,
the shadows.
Yeah, mind the shadows, you corny fucker. What do you say? What do you say, wifey?
What do I say?
Yeah, what do you say?
Good evening, everybody.
You need a catchphrase.
I keep
You
it
need a
simple.
catchphrase.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what your country has done to you.
Oof, that's one hell of a way to finish it.